Okay. Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to today's YouTube Live. My name is Glory Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah, and you're all specially welcome. Today's conversation is one which I have particularly been looking forward to for a long time now. Yeah, for a long time now. And I am happy that we are doing it today live. I've always wanted to have like a one-on-one conversation with my fellow Nigerians because I I've always wanted to have like a conversation with a lot of us to know where our head is at, to know what's on our mind, to know what we're thinking, to know how we are coping with the current state of things in the economy, um, just to know what plans we have, you know, especially towards the coming election. And yeah, just more like a heart to heart conversation. And that was the reason I put out the video I put out some days ago, just like some sort of introduction to the conversation. Um, yeah, on that video, guys, I had a lot to say. And as I mentioned on that video, today I want to listen to all of you talk. All right. So I'm going to share just like a short story of something that happened earlier today when I went to the market. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to also go ahead and share the link to today's conversation in the comment section. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share the link to the conversation in the comment section so that if you want to share, if you want to contribute to the conversation, you can just easily click on the link so that you can join to speak. All right. But before I go ahead, quick gratitude to every single one of you who made it to today's live. I am grateful. Thank you all so much. I always appreciate all of you for your time and your efforts to join today's conversation. I know that Saturdays are really a time out for a lot of people to do things that they were not able to do during the week, probably because of work or other things. But today being Saturday, you guys made out time to join the conversation. So I do not take that for granted. I am grateful. Thank you all so much. All right. Anyways, quickly diving right into the conversation. So I on the video I put out some days ago, I had mentioned all the titles that a typical everyday Nigerian has gathered over the years, right? Currently, in and outside Nigeria, Nigerians are known to be the chief adjusters, people who would likely adjust to any situation, right? On one hand, it is called resilience, right? That's another name for it. But on the other hand, if you're a typical Nigerian living in Nigeria, that is what you are. You are the chief adjuster. In other words, no matter what the government does, no matter what the system does to make your life terrible, to make your life miserable, you would always adjust. So the typical Nigerian is known as the chief adjuster. We are also known as the chief adapters, right? We just adapt to any situation. We adapt to anything. We don't really care. We just adapt to anything, right? And the slogan that Nigerians are known to embrace every single day of their life is one day it go better. I'm currently 36 years old. I clocked 36 years old this year in February. And it's sad to announce to all of you that since I was born, I have been hearing that slogan, one day it go better. Is it better now? Are things better now? Has the situation of things in Nigeria changed for the better? No. It has really changed for the worse. Since I was born, as it is now, we've never had it this bad. Currently, it is really, really bad. Now, I'm going to tell you the story I said I was going to tell you. So, I just returned from the local market. I went to a local market. I mentioned some time ago that I rarely go to the market. I have my reasons for that. I rarely go to the market. So I just returned from the market, right? And I went to a POS operator. A POS operator is just another very interesting development in this country. Why? There are banks. There are the ATM machines at the banks where before, previously, people could just easily walk up to the ATM and withdraw money, right? But guess what? For years now, you hardly find cash in the ATM machines. What do we have now? We have POS operators who charge you an arm and a leg. A lot of people might think it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money when you're trying to make a huge withdrawal from them, right? So we have these ATM POS operators now who will charge you exorbitant amounts to get cash from them. And rumor has it that it is certain people that actually own those POS machines. So it's like another system. Guys, it's insane. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's insane. Anyways, I went to a POS operator, wanted to get some cash, and the person gave me the price, what they charge for a particular amount. I wanted 20,000 naira. So they told me 600 naira. They are going to get 600 naira from me to give me 20,000 naira from my account. I could not argue because honestly, I was already tired. I know the drill. You can't argue your way out of it. You can't haggle prices and you cannot argue with those people. So I said, okay, fine. Let me get the cash. Now, there was this other woman standing right there. She was frustrated, visibly frustrated. She wanted money. She wanted a huge amount of money. But when you look at her, you know that this is your typical everyday Nigerian that is hustling to put food on the table for her children. Now, I knew that money that she wanted to get, that money was not for luxury. She wanted to buy things. And let me not forget to add that everything in the market, prices, quantity, it is insanely expensive now. The hiking prices, I don't know how your everyday Nigerian is coping. God help them. Whatever they believe in, help them. Because the gospel truth is this government is not ready to help anybody at all. The government is for themselves and their cronies alone. Yeah. Anyways, back to the story. I said, okay, fine, give me the money. This woman was begging the girl that was operating the machine, oh, please reduce the money. Obviously, it is not the girl that actually owns the machine. If you know, you know. She's not the owner of the machine. There's one big man or woman somewhere that owns the machine that gives them all those heavy loads of cash for them to run this business. So at the end of the day, she has to, remit what she has made for the day to whoever owns the machine. That's how they do the business. So the girl was like, Madam, no be me make this country hard o, madam, no be me vote Tinubu for power. In other words, what she's saying is it's not because of her that things are harsh and hard in the country. That it is not because of her that there is a president such as the one that we have right now in power. That, as a matter of fact, during the election in 2023, she did not vote. She did not come out. In fact, she was saying it proudly. In other words, shifting the blame of the current state of the economy on everybody else that went out to vote, on everybody else that actually supported and voted for this current president. So according to her, whatever amount is given to you, you have to accept it like that because it is your fault that we have this current president. Now, the other one that is begging for a reduction in the price, she too was getting frustrated. And she too was like, God forbid, I'm not the one that voted that. She was actually calling the president names. I'm not the one that voted for that person. God forbid. Da, da, da. And she was getting angry. I mean, I'm just standing there and I'm like, well, what can I say? What exactly can I say? I was watching both of them having that exchange. And as far as I was concerned, what can I say that will make sense to these two people? Because if you think about it, right, I'm not trying to generalize, but let's call a spade a spade. You see, most Nigerians, right, including the ones at the marketplaces, let me use the right word, they are very cheap. Apologies if it comes off as offensive to anybody listening to me right now, but the truth has to be said. A lot of Nigerians, especially those ones that run little businesses in the marketplaces, they are very cheap to buy. You know what they say about everybody has a price? The truth is, they are very cheap to buy. And the government and politicians, they are aware of this as a fact that the average Nigerian is very cheap. When you talk about name your price, they know that the average Nigerian, you can literally buy an average Nigerian at no cost at all. The average Nigerian is very, very cheap. Just meet the need of one average Nigerian, and they could literally sell their soul to you. I.e., this is rice season. Hmm? Ever since this president got into power, it's been rice season. You complain about the lack of electricity, they give people rice, they keep quiet. They share rice for everything. Everything you complain about, they share rice. And guess what? The rice that they share, the bag, they print the image of the president, they print the image of the president's political party on the bag. And when you go to the point to collect the rice, the people sharing the rice, they will tell you to bring your voter's card. They will write down your voter's registration number, and then they will give you rice. And then they will give you some nonsense other. Well, for me, I call it nonsense. But for a lot of these Nigerians, that is their prayers being answered. A lot of them will even go to church or their place of worship to go and give testimonies about how, oh, they've been hungry for so long, and then boom, the president's people and his political party, they came to their area to come and share rice and share one kobo. Oh, now they are being fed. And when they finish eating that rice in one day or 1 week, they go back to square one, where they were before they got the rice. So I was watching these two women, and I was just like, well, whatever. You are the kind of people, anyways, who, when they give you rice, you collect the rice. The only time you complain is when the rice is finished. And then you come out again and then you complain. And, going through the market today, a lot was just happening. I was just watching people. I was doing mostly people watching. I did not go to buy a lot of things, but I was doing a lot of people watching. I was watching and listening to people haggle prices. Ladies and gentlemen, things that you used to buy for so little, just about 4 or 5 years ago, now you feel like crying. If you're not already crying, you feel like crying when you hear the prices of these things. They are so ridiculously expensive. And I was just asking myself, even if I am able to buy this thing now, what if, because the thing in Nigeria is, if the price is up today, it never goes down. Never. There's a saying we have in Nigeria here, that whatever goes up never comes down. That is a fact. Nobody made that up. That is a fact. So you keep asking yourself that, okay, this thing costs this amount today. How much will it be tomorrow? In Nigeria, it doesn't take time for the prices of things to go up. And why does the price of things go up? Well, fine, aside the fact that there's no proper market regulation of prices, there's also the panic, there's a part of panic buying, right? Panic buying from a lot of people, because people know now that, okay, this system does not favor everybody. If you don't buy it in bulk today, tomorrow the prices will go up. So there's a lot of panic buying. People will rush and buy and buy and buy for the fear of the prices going up tomorrow. And then the people that are selling, the sellers, they recognize this as opportunity. So what do? They see that, okay, people are panic buying. What do? They now hike up the prices immediately because they know that people will still buy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not normal. This is not normal. Was it not in Kenya? Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think last year, that they increased the price of bread. And the youths of that country, they came out in their millions to protest, to revolt against the senseless increase in the price of just a commodity such as bread. But in Nigeria, my problem with Nigerians is, it's like we wear it as a badge of honor to endure, to adapt to situations, to accept abnormalities as normal. The price of bread used to be like 100 naira like not even long ago, like 300 naira, like I think about 4 years ago. But now, bread is actually 2,800. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them are 1,000 naira, 1,500 naira, 2,800. See, over 100% increase in the price of bread. And bread is just an example. Everything is ridiculously expensive. But guess what? My fellow Nigerians, they beat them chest proudly and they tell themselves, it go better. It no go ever better. It's not a curse, but that is what it is. It no go ever better. Because we allow abnormalities to exist in this country. And you see, one thing I always tell myself when I listen to the news, read the news, newspapers and all, I just see that and I tell myself that wow, that Nigerian politicians, they are the luckiest set of bastards in the whole world. When you talk about politicians that are the luckiest, they are the luckiest because they do the most. They do even the unthinkable and they get away with it. I'll give you an example. You will hear in the news of a particular government official that has been accused of embezzlement of funds. And when we talk about embezzlement of funds in Nigeria, our politicians don't play. Our politicians do not embezzle 1 million naira, 2 million naira. No, these people, when they embezzle, you will cry because it's as if they want to take your life. They embezzle in millions and billions and even running into dollars. They embezzle like they want to destroy you as a Nigerian. They want to even destroy your generations to come. They embezzle like, oh, let me embezzle so that there wouldn't be a pin left in the treasury. That is as much as they embezzle. They embezzle so much. But guess what? In the same country, the law enforcement agencies will say they're investigating them. They take the case to the courts and the case keeps dragging and dragging and dragging. And then they do some sort of settlement sometimes. See, the news, such cases makes the news and you hear it and everybody will react, oh my God, and then boom, everything dies down. And then guess what? In the next few months, election season comes again. Or maybe in the next few years, election season comes again. Those same people that have been accused of embezzlement, of corruption, of theft, they still come back to come and contest for another political office. It is this same you and I, God forbid, not me, because God forbid, but it is this same set of Nigerians that will still come out and rally for such people to occupy those offices again and govern them. But guess what? Governance never happens. Because those people, they saw that they got away with it the first time. In fact, some of them are repeat offenders. They have a track record of criminality, a track record of theft. So they saw, okay, they got away with it the first time, they got away with it the second time. Oh, well, nothing is going to happen. They come back and they occupy offices and they continue to steal and steal and steal. When you go to some states in Nigeria, what some states, majority of the states in Nigeria, everything is in shambles. Everything is so dilapidated, structures, buildings. Youths are so unemployed, they're jobless, and it's rubbish all around. And then what have hope? They dish out false hope to Nigerians. They tell you and pray that one day it go better, pray that one day everything will be fine. And then they go to churches, they go to mosque, and then they give money to the religious leaders. And then, they tell the religious leaders to, just buy something for the congregation. And then the religious leaders, of course, I'm sorry to say, but let's call a spade a spade. A lot of them are greedy criminals as well. After collecting tithes, after collecting offerings, after collecting seeds that they have cajoled and manipulated their congregation into sowing, with false messages of, if you do not sow a seed, God will not work in your life. They lie to these people so much. And then once people give all of this, they still collect money from politicians. And then they use it to send their own children abroad to school. Because, of course, this country is not good enough, obviously, for their offsprings. So they use those money that they have collected, both from the congregation and both from politicians. They use it to better their lives. Some of them buy private jets. Some of them, they buy houses upon houses, properties here and there. Nigerians. So whilst Nigerians continue to flood all these religious places of worship, their religious leaders, they look fresher, they look fatter, they wear designer outfits, they even have security. Somebody is preaching to you that, oh, God is your only source of protection. God is the only person that is going to secure your house and protect you. But when they are coming to their place of worship on Fridays or on Sundays, they have armored vehicles, they have protection, they have security people protecting them. Where they live, they have security people protecting them. The vehicles that they drive, most of them, they drive bulletproof vehicle, but they are telling you that is going to that place of worship, that God is going to protect you. Do you see how stupid the whole thing is? Do you see how manipulated you are as a Nigerian? And you know what? As I said, Nigerian politicians, they are the luckiest set of bastards in this whole world. Because all of these things that they're doing, they're not hiding it anymore. Gone are those days when they used to hide impunity. Gone are those days when they used to hide corruption. They don't hide it anymore. They do it in broad daylight. They do it in broad daylight because they know that you will not do shit. They know you will not say anything. They know that there's nothing you can do about it. They know that you have no audacity. They know that you have no courage. They know that you are cowards. You cannot do anything about it. So they go about throwing it all in your faces and giving you the middle finger and telling you that, yes, fuck you. You can't do nothing about it. And then guess what? At the end of the day, you see those their children that they've sent abroad to go and study, to go and experience life in other well-developed countries, in Europe, in America, in Asian countries. The moment those ones are finished doing their bachelor's degree and their master's degree, guess what? They bring them back home and they plant them in different political offices. So when they are retiring, they've already started grooming their children. When they are going for political rallies, they are taking their children for political rallies. When they are going for visitations to different wards in their local government or in their state, they take their children along. When they are going anywhere, anything political gathering, they take their children along, teaching them the ropes of embezzlement, teaching them the ropes of corruption. Because I'm sorry to say, I have not seen any politician's child in power currently that is different from what their parents are doing. If there's any politician's child that is doing way better than what their parents have done, please name their names in the comment section. Show me who they are. Let me give them the accolades that is due to them. So the parents rule you, press your neck in abject poverty. They drown you in frustration. They drown you in hopelessness. They drown you in lack, in strife. But their offsprings are living well. They are living large. They are living in affluence. They are flaunting it in your face. They are not even hiding it. They are flaunting it in your face. And then when it is time to vote again, you still come out and vote the same people that are destroying your lives and the lives of your children and your generation. For how much? During election time, they come, they give you 50 naira, 500 naira, 2,000 naira. There was a video I saw before I came online. These motherfuckers, they were not even afraid. They literally packed bundles of money on the table. It's on the blogs. They packed bundles of money on the table. And then they had envelopes with the president's face on the envelope. And then they are removing, is it to 2,000, 1,000 naira? And they're putting inside the envelope. And then they are giving it to people. And you see the women, they are kneeling down. Thank you. Thank you. and you're collecting the envelope and they are going. Selling your vote, selling your future for crumbs. Nigerian politicians are so lucky because the kind of people we have in this country, are enablers of corruption. When you have a regular conversation with a Nigerian, they will tell you, oh, this country is so corrupt, this country is so corrupt. No, we are all enablers of corruption. We allow it to happen. We feed into it. We normalize it. We have come to normalize it so much that it has become an everyday thing. It has become a normal thing. When the government introduces policies that does not really favor the masses, policies that obviously have some loopholes, guess what happens? The masses does not even revolt when it is exposed that such policies have loopholes. The ones that happened, was it this year? The tax law, the new tax law. The controversy surrounding that tax law. If it was a country like Kenya, I know for a fact that the youths of Kenya, in their millions, they would have revolted against that tax law. But guess what? Nigerians would just talk, keypad warriors on social media, just like I am doing right now. Of course, me too, I'm a keypad warrior. We talk online, and that is where it ends. And the government will still go ahead and implement the electoral act, that be electoral law. That one too, it was exposed that there were a lot of loopholes. In fact, recently, it was also revealed and exposed by a previous INEC official that there were provisions that were included to empower the electoral officer that is going to collate the results, give the person immunity from blah, 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 and then also give some other politicians that immunity that, oh, they can pick up any ballot paper and provide their own results. And that's so messed up. And Nigerians will hear that kind of news and they'll say, and that is all. They'll just, now, wow, and that is all. And nothing will be done. And guess what? The law will continue to be implemented. You know what? Let me keep quiet for now. I'm just going to go ahead and speak to David. Mr. James, Mr. James is here too. I think Mr. James was the first person. Hi, everyone. You're all welcome to the conversation. Thanks for joining. Please, let's begin with Mr. James. Mr. James was actually the first to join. Mr. James, you're welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're welcome, sir. Please go ahead and share.
There's a question I would like to ask. Do you believe that if people get the government they deserve?
Honestly, at this point, I think that is the case.
Yes, it's Socrates who made that statement. He said the people get the government they deserve.
Yeah.
When I was a little boy living in Nigeria, we had some leaders during Yakubu Gowon's time. Now, these leaders did what they could to help us. During Yakubu Gowon's administration, they built, Murtala Mohammed Airport. They started it before the government was overthrown in July 29, 1975. Obasanjo completed it. Ogorode Power Station in Saple. Refineries nationwide. They constructed these items. The road network linking the states today, interstate highways, they constructed it. Third Mainland Bridge, the list is unending. When the government was overthrown, they were very lucky. We were ready to skin them alive. We were ready to kill them. But somehow, they decided not to execute anybody. The government was overthrown and they left. And since then, till this very day, nothing is working. Now, the issue is, we've complained enough. What are the solutions? That's what we should be interested in. The powers of the state is enormous. The state can do and undo. If the state should say today that Mr. Peter should be executed at 12 o'clock, it's only something extraordinary that can change that decision. It will be carried out and nothing will happen. That is the powers of the state. Anyway, as I said earlier on, if people get the government they deserve, I, for
mm,
one, never paid school fees during my time, from
mm,
primary school up to university level. I never paid a farthing. I grew up in a part of the country where education was absolutely free.
mm,
But when the government, when the administration ended, we were not even showing appreciation. It's not that we are reflecting on what we enjoyed in the past.
mm,
Anyway, the issue is this. Um, we Nigerians, we have what I would call an exaggerated sense of our importance.
mm,
We are in no perceptible way better than any other African country. In fact, I believe that no black man is better than the other. All Africans are the same.
mm,
So the only way out I can see is a collapse of the system. I remember reading about Liberia. They gained their independence in no, they returned from America from slavery in 1822. From 1822 to 1847, they were being governed by some Americans, not the
mm,
US government. Then, after then, they gave their independence in 1847.
mm,
From then till 1980, it was only one tribe, the free slaves from America, that were ruling Liberia. It was an
mm,
apartheid government. Because if you don't belong to that tribe, to hell with you. No, you are blooded for, what you call native. But when Doe came in 1980, April 1980, the whole equation changed. And Liberia today is undergoing a transformation, a
mm,
transition from that decadent system that lasted for 158 years till now. So they're undergoing transformation. The second example is Ghana.
mm,
When Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966, it was jubilation galore all over Ghana.
mm,
But 1979, from 66 to 79, the situation became so terribly bad that when Jerry Rawlings took over the government, three retired heads of states, Afrifa, Akufo, and Achampong, were publicly put before a firing squad. They were
mm,
sent to hell. That is what stabilized Ghana a little bit that we are seeing today. So there is need for Nigerians as a people to come together to find out what they can do to salvage the situation. It's not what you and me can sit down here to provide solutions and discuss, because the problem is deep rooted. But
mm,
no matter how difficult a problem is, if reasonable men sit down to find a common ground, that problem can be solved. After
mhm,
all, the Americans went to the moon and they returned in 1979. What no man had ever done, they did it successfully and they returned. So why can't we also do the same thing? So in our private conversations, not public conversations of this nature, we should be
mm,
discussing solutions to the problem.
mm.
Because if we discuss it in public, it's like a slave plotting his escape from his master in the presence of his master.
True.
When slaves are plotting their escape, they don't do it in the presence of their masters because it
Mm,
will be an exercise in futility. So discussing solutions to the problem on channels of this nature should be avoided at all costs. In our private conversations, we can be exchanging ideas, and who knows, the ideas could germinate and anything could happen, just as it happened in Ghana, in South Africa, because ANC was founded in 1912. From 1912 to 1994, they consistently fought till they gained their freedom. So nothing
mm.
comes easy. And lastly, no politician will voluntarily relinquish political power, come what
True.
may. You have to fight for it, grab it, and run away from it, run away with
Agree?
it, as
As
our
this one
man
told us.
rightly put it. Yeah,
Mm,
so that is how I see it. We should be discussing, but not on public forums of this nature. And I discourage people from discussing the solutions in public because, as I said, it's like a slave plotting his escape in the presence of his master. This problem can be solved. but not
Mm.
in public. Thank you so much for your effort.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. James. Really appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much. All right, let's hear from David. David, you're welcome.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you. Welcome.
Okay. I hope you can put a smile on your face.
David, I'm so pleased. I'm so
I
pleased.
I actually appreciate Mr. James. 99% of what he said, I 100% agree with him. The only dissension I have there is do not discuss this in public. I don't agree with that. Everything else he said is spot on. I don't know if you remember the very recent uprising in Nepal, where the
Mhm.
Gen Zs upturned the entire government. Right, it was done in the open. There's
Mm,
you have to know where you are in times of, are you in the industrial revolution, are you in IT, what's going on, right? And use the
true.
information you have to fight what you want, right? Now you don't have to go through the, maybe what it's trying to say is you don't have to go through the details of what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
But to not bring awareness about the situation, um I struggle with that. Maybe again, what he's trying to say there is people have been bringing awareness to it and it's not changed anything. So
Mm,
maybe in that sense he has a point. But everything
mm,
else is said, like, do you deserve the kind of government you have? Absolutely true. let
mhm,
me let me let me start by saying, this ego better, right, that you said, right?
mm,
There are three phrases: ego better, now, wow,
mm,
um tomorrow is going to be better than today, and all that. Those phrases are to keep you guessing and
mm,
under. Now, you see, something can be a double-edged sword. Something can be good and at the same time bad.
mhm,
Endurance. Nigerians are known worldwide for being they endure a lot, right? That
mm,
endurance individually. So if you travel to, let's say you go to Australia, for example, right, as a Nigerian, the hustle mindset, the never giving up, whatever they throw at you, you take it. It actually makes you succeed individually,
mm,
right? Um, yeah, I'm not twisting his word. I didn't say, he said don't discuss solutions in the public. That's exactly what I said. I said I don't agree that you should not discuss all solutions. You should start something. There's some, if you don't talk about some of the things, solutions in the public, well, again, it's up for anyone can decide what they want to do, right? Let me go back
yeah.
to what I was saying, right? So if the actual thing that helps Nigerians to thrive outside the country, right? For example, Nigerians don't give up, they endure and all that. So on the one hand, you enduring and just keeping quiet in the face of adversity and just moving on can be a strength individually, but
Mhm,
collectively it can be the reason why politicians use you, right? So it can be good to you individually, getting ahead in your career and your profession, but collectively, people should not just be accepting things in the face of everything and all that. I don't know if you see what I'm
so,
saying, right? So
yeah.
there is a balance there, right? So it's a fine line. You don't just say that something is. There's always devils in the details. Always, right? Now, politics in Nigeria has no ideology. I'm going to say that unabashedly. Like, there is no ideology in Nigerian politics. You see, the reason why you can see one person cross carpet from one political party to the other, right?
Mhm,
And easily it doesn't, and I'm not saying this from, I'm not citing any example. I'm just saying there is no difference in any of them. Like, it's almost like the only political ideology the politician in Nigeria has is corruption.
mhm,
That is the ideology, right? There's no, if you look at the Labour Party in the UK and you compare that with the Tories, right, the Conservatives, you know what they stand for. If you look at the Democrats and the Republicans in the US, you actually know what they stand for, right? You
mhm,
don't know what people stand for in Nigeria. Like, it doesn't matter what they are, right? When they say that you are the leaders of tomorrow, right? Imagine
mhm.
someone telling you when you're in secondary school or primary school that you're the leaders of tomorrow, and that same person is still there right now. So who is now the leader, right? You told me I'm the leader of tomorrow, and tomorrow has come, and you're still there. What are you trying? What's going on? Now
I
the
don't want to
problem is,
leave.
you don't want to leave. I don't want to say it, but you don't want to leave, right?
Mhm,
You're in your 80s, you're in your 70s, you're getting close to someone that is probably going to be using diapers, right? And still, you still want to hold on to power. Like, what is going on here? By the way, I don't want to be fair, even the younger generation, right? The people that are the ones that, do you know, some of them are more kleptomanic than even the older ones, right?
Mhm.
So there is
Mhm.
no guarantee that if someone in his 40s or the 50s takes over the realms of affair in Nigeria, things are going to get better. There's no guarantee, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, when you were saying that these people train their kids, the treats go abroad, they come back, and you double dared us. You said, can you give me one person who that there is none? Maybe again, maybe somebody can put it on. I can put it on. I'm struggling to find one, right?
Mhm.
So it's tough. It's getting it's getting progressively worse, right?
Mhm.
Every single time you have a government in power, what's one of the things you hear is, I wish the one that was there before, this one now is worse than the one there. Like, it's not a joke. This is what's happening, right?
Mhm.
I'm not putting solutions out there, and I'm not twisting James' word, but I'm going to say this: if you a broad solution, right, is
Mm.
when you have a crack in the wall, right, you don't paint over the crack, you bring the whole wall down. And this is he actually, Mr. James alluded to this about in Liberia, right? You bring the whole wall down, and then you build a new wall, right? You
Mhm.
don't paint, you don't do you actually have to bring the whole wall down. What is the wall that binds the country? It's the constitution of the country, right?
Mhm.
Let me
True.
tell you what, right? The constitution is not friendly to the people of this country. And
Yeah.
until people recognize that it doesn't matter who's there, you're wasting your time. You have to face that. Now, the revolution that will lead to a solution, I can say this openly, I don't think I'm breaking it, is you have to go back to the Nigerian 99 constitution and actually alter that entire document, right? Why do
David,
you think, yeah,
sorry, let me just inform you. I There was this news I heard at some point that they are reviewing the constitution. I am scared. I am scared because this current National
administration,
Assembly, you know what they are. You know those
the rubber
ones,
stamp, they're just rubber
rubber
stamp,
stamp.
yeah,
And
yeah.
currently, the Senate President really introduced the new rule that is seeming to look like he alone wants to continue being Senate President for a long time. So it's insane. So talking about reviewing the Constitution, even I am scared about the people that are going to be
That are
doing that
doing it,
reviewing.
right? Which is why I said you have to go to the foundation of the problem, right? Like,
Mm,
if you are going to review the constitution, what does the constitution say? What does the constitution say, right? Like, does it say that, let me give you an example, right? In the United States of America, there is a procedure on how to review the US Constitution, right? If you want to make an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, right, it's either you have two-thirds from the House and the Senate, the Congress together, and then 3/4, 75% of the states have to ratify it. So it's not one person. It's not in one man's hand, like the Senate president, the president of the country. You have to pretty much upturn the entire thing like that. If it's
mhm,
the moment you create a scenario where you are hoping on a strong man, a one man to change things, you're wasting your time. So
mhm,
so and let me just quickly talk on two things, then I'll keep quiet. Right? The thing about why do you think that the American system is different from the British system when it comes to governance? Right. So one of them has prime minister, the other one has a president. Right. And why do Africans, and to be more specific, Nigerians, why do they think that the method of governance in UK, US is the way that we should also go?
mm,
In Singapore, right, or in Japan, today Japan and Singapore are not seen as third world countries, obviously not, right? But
mhm,
after the Second World War, everyone knew how Japan was decimated, right? But today Japan is a first world country. How they turn things around is very different, is very, very different from how. So you have to look at your local. All politics is local, right? You have to look at how things are done in Africa and find your own way of governance that will work for you. If you keep borrowing, and this is one of the problems, right? Nigeria will borrow some concept from the British concept, some American concept, and then try to double down on it when they don't have the structure that actually can do that, right? You don't have the
mm,
mindset. You don't have a country where you don't have you have a country where you have 350 tribes or ethnicity, and you want to think that you're just going to do things the way other people that have just four or five tribes or ethnicity are and get the same result. I'm sorry, you will not get the same result. The solution, again, alluding to what Mr. James said, has to be indigenous. There has to be a you look inwards to find a way out. But it has to start, by the way, by that constitution, right? The constitution has to be gotten rid of completely, right? If you don't get rid of that constitution, I'm sorry, anybody who takes over 2027, whatever happens, you are just wasting your time. This is the last thing I'm going to say. So poverty is a tool, like you said, right?
Mm.
The poverty is a tool in the hands of this. The media itself is also a tool. The media
Sure.
itself is a tool. In fact, there are times when you just go online, and the moment you put you go to, maybe, I don't want to mention TV stations, right? But the moment you are watching a particular TV station, you either know it's going to be pro or anti this or that. Like it's an echo chamber. It's a place that actually reinforces what people's bias is, and people are now gravitating to where they want to go. And unfortunately,
Mm.
that's the place, right? Finally, religion. This is my favorite one, right? Religion as a tool. I need to say something on religion, right? Because religion is the opium of the masses. That's what Karl Marx
Yeah.
said. But let me bring it down to normal, to what we know, you and I on the streets, right? You see, the church, the mosque, whatever you want to call it, right? Indigenous religion, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
It has a strong hold on the psyche of the individual. It does not allow the person to use logic,
Mm.
right? And then you throw away. It's almost like when you're walking to it. Let me use a church, for example, right? As you're walking to church, right? You open your skull, you remove your brain, you drop it outside. Then when you come out, you pick it up and you put it back in. Like it does. People are not. You're laughing. People are not. How can, like you said, how can you be in a place where they're telling you drop 1,000, drop 2,000, and the person that is telling you that is driving a Rolls Royce, and
Yeah.
you are coming with a Kekena Pep, right? So what is really wrong with people here, right? And then they'll tell you, it go better, it go better. And by the way, there is a crosstalk. There's interaction between the religious leaders, the political leaders, right? They are all in cahoots. Like
Mhm.
there's no difference in it, right? Because
Yeah.
they know that they will need them in election seasons. This same
Mhm.
guys will now go to those churches, those mosques, right?
Mhm.
And then they will now scratch their back when they get there.
Mhm.
You can't get out of that if you don't have. Now education is supposed to give you some breathing space on how to be logical in your approach, but unfortunately, even the education now is now suspect.
Mhm.
Education is now suspect, right? So if your education is down the drain, your religion is just to brainwash you. And by the way, I hope anyone in the comment section that is saying I'm not anti-God at all, right? I'm
Mhm.
I am as religious as religion can go, right? But it does not mean that I know that it's a difference between spirituality and religion. And
Mhm.
your walk with God is actually your personal life, right? You
Exactly.
can't. It's that you going to church or not going to church has nothing to do with what God sees about you, basically, right? Anyways,
Mm.
let me end it there. Again, 99% of what Mr. James said is absolutely correct. I don't know how
Mm.
much I just fear that if you don't talk about the solutions, right? Even if it's just some brief solution, just give some broad solutions, right? And
Mm.
all you are doing is talking about the problems outside. I won't want to be with someone that gives me 11 problems. I'd rather be with someone that gives me 12 solutions, right? So
Mm.
there is a place for balance, right? Get some one or two very vague, but just give an idea of pointers of how to go. Um,
Mm.
Ultimately, we should not be caught up with this is how it's done in another country. This is how we have to do it in our country. No, look inwards, fix that constitution, throw it out, throw the one you have out. I don't know how that's going to happen. And unfortunately, by the way,
Mm.
don't use the mindset of Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, right? Do you know how many times in the history of African countries, where someone came in, and when he came in, Jerry Rawlings, for example, in Ghana, right? Someone comes in, great way, right? Or Charles Taylor, the one he used in Liberia, right? Where
Mm.
the person came in like a savior. 10 years down the road, the person became a pain in the neck of the people, right? So you can't also rely on. That's why you can't rely on one person. You have to
Sure.
change the constitution. Let me just
Yeah.
keep quiet. Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, David. When Mr. James was speaking, I totally understood where he was coming from, right? When he said we shouldn't talk about, most of these things in public. I totally understood. And the way I reasoned it was, remember, I said on my video that we are told that Nigeria practices a democracy, but the truth is, you do not entirely own your freedom of expression. There's a way you're going to express yourself, and it becomes a problem when certain people in the higher ups feel attacked by your criticism. So that was the way I interpreted it from what he was saying. But on the other hand, David, I lean towards your own thinking about us talking about it. And the reason I speak about the problems a lot is because God so kind, I have been privileged to travel to some other African countries around Nigeria. And I have now been exposed to some extent to see. I haven't even gone to America yet. I'm talking about other African countries around Nigeria. And it has opened my eyes to realize that some of the things that we think are normal in Nigeria are not normal. I'm not even talking about their customs and traditions because every country will definitely have theirs, but we're talking about normal way of living, normal expectations that the people should have from their leaders. You see? So
Hmm.
in Nigeria, when we talk about weaponized poverty, weaponized incompetence, in the sense that our government can be competent, but they choose to not be competent. Why? Because if everybody becomes empowered, a lot of them will not have anything to offer. When they want to
Correct.
campaign, they will have
Correct.
nothing, absolutely nothing to offer. Because why? They
Zero.
cannot
Yeah.
think innovatively. So the only thing they can think of during election campaigns is, oh, we'll give you good roads, we'll give you good schools and good food. These are things that are already normal in other countries. So that is why in other countries, when people are campaigning, they don't even campaign with will give you good roads. No, because they've gone beyond that level. Do you
Glory, glory,
understand?
glory. Nigeria copied presidential system of governance from America, right? Where you have a
Yeah.
president, you have a senate. In the presidential election in the US, right, there are at least two or three debates, presidential debates, televised, national,
Mhm.
before so that you know where the candidates stand. Nigeria did not copy that one.
No,
They copy. See, you see what I'm saying? That's
yes.
why they cherry picked what they wanted to copy from those countries, right? You copy
Yeah.
one thing that favors you. You don't copy all of it, right? Nigeria copies, like I said. So there's no debate. What you're saying is correct, right? There's nothing. Democracy in Nigeria is a demonstration of grace, like
Mhm.
Fela said, right? People
Mhm.
are not saying the truth. Like, how can you copy something and only when it suits you, that's what you do, right? Right?
Mhm.
You copied, if you copy, there's a constitution, American constitution, British constitution, right? Nigeria copied the constitution, right? But the constitution of America, like I told you earlier on, tells you how you can, where the public can actually come in and how to change it. Our own is like, you're telling me now the Senate president wants to just do something, right? What is the guarantee that Senate president and the president of the country will not just say, you know what, president for life, right? Which
Mhm.
is crazy. Which other African countries have done it, by the way. They've changed their
Mhm.
constitution to make sure that the president of the country stays there forever and ever and ever, right? So
Mhm.
it is government of the selected people, for the selected people, of the
Mhm.
selected people, and anyone who is not in that cahoot, in that group, right? I'm sorry, you are just a number. You're a pawn you're in the chess game. You are just a pawn, and it is you need to break the board. The chess board has to be broken, right?
Mhm.
So if you try to put, so this is why I'm not into one candidate. This no, this is a superficial problem, right? You can't solve the Fulani hegemony, right? The Fulani hegemony that has held Nigeria, oligarchs, the Fulani oligarchs that have held Nigeria, right? Let me say this, and I'm going to quickly shut. I'm really going to shut up now, right? Do you know that there is no for every time you have a southern president, just think about it, right? Every time you have a southern president, and I don't want to say this because I don't want to sound like I'm looking bad on another side of the country, right? But I have to say it, right? Every time there's a southern president, the North behaves as though they've taken power away from them, and
True.
either through they now look for ways of getting it back. if
Mm.
if it's a northern person that is there, they have absolutely no problem with that person, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
rank a day. It's just, life goes on, right? But the moment and they don't care which southerner.
Mm-hmm.
The South is the one that keeps saying, "Oh, you are this place. You are Ijo, you are Elijah, you are Shekiri, you are Ibibi, or Igala, Tiv, Efik, whatever, Yoruba, Igbo, whatever." Right? The North is. I'm not talking of the mid belt. I'm talking of the core North, like the upper North, right? They
Mm-hmm.
just want power, right? And there's this Fulani hegemony that even the Hausas are not the Fulanis, and this is the Fulanis that I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right? And
Yeah.
they're not even the majority, by the way, when it comes to number, like raw
Mm-hmm.
number, right? But they have, due to institution and structure, they've held the country on chokehold, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what happens, no matter who sits in Aso Rock, right, you have to do their bidding, and if you don't do their bidding, they frustrate the country. Becomes like very bad. They just make
Mm-hmm.
sure, either by security reasons, they frustrate you. How can a country that has 200 and only God knows how much people are in Nigeria by now? It might be,
We
it
are
might be
overloaded
because
at this
there's
point.
there's no there's no there's no census, right? The last time was census
Mm-hmm.
was maybe it's close to 300 million people by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Including all the people that have jackpot and all that, right? How can you have a country that is close to 250 million people and you have just 5,000 kilowatts of electricity? Like, when you think about these things, something that one company in Seattle can produce that for its own company. Only one company is producing that, right? Then you have a whole country that is like that is to third the size of the US by population, and they cannot even
Mm-hmm.
produce that. So it's too much. I really I don't want to get frustrated like you. Maybe I should also go in a Zen moment, go and pray. I need to go and pray and clear my head. I'll listen to. I'll keep listening to other people. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, David. Sometimes I choose to not be frustrated, but anything that puts you in Nigeria, on the Nigerian soil, and you go to certain places, you will just experience the frustration. It's something, it's like a breeze. It just hits you, and you remember that, oh my God, this is actually reality. It's that bad. Thank you so much, David. Let's speak with, sorry, Miss Morodney. Morodney, you're welcome. Mo? Oh, did he leave? Morodney, okay, please, if you can return, we'll appreciate that. Okay, let's speak with Ovi Man. Oh my God, Mr. Ovi Man, my friend, you're welcome. Hello, Ovi Man, what's happening? Oh, you're muted. Can you please unmute yourself, please?
Hello, Glory.
Yes, yes, you're welcome, sir. Long time. Good to have you back.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. Can I request to speak after the next person?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we'll have a Mara. Mara, oh my goodness, welcome, welcome. Good to have you back.
Hi, Glory. How are you?
Wow, I don't want to say go better.
I know. I know in as much as I'm not a Nigerian and I kind of see the same struggles you people are suffering, where there's the same
Hmm,
struggles we equally have back home here. And
hmm,
also it's I just learned from Dr. David today that that same constitution we adopted as Kenyans is the same one you guys equally are using in Nigeria.
hmm,
And it's so frustrating because sometimes I wonder with us, it was a matter of referendum when we were changing from the old constitution to this constitution.
hmm.
And they painted it to be a very beautiful thing. It was going to be progressive for the people, whereby we are going to hold the leaders accountable with the resources that they're allocated to them. Only for us to come and realize that we literally kind of shot ourselves in the foot.
Hmm.
Now, across the board, this is what I have observed when it comes to the African countries. Most of these leaders, they tend to think that the highest seat in the land is a family business.
Hmm.
And most of the time, when they go about and gallivant and promising the people of what they're going to do, matters changing, the
True,
environment, matters employment, health, and everything, they
true.
promise heaven and earth. And sadly, as a society, we suffer from populism,
Hmm.
whereby there's this preconceived notion that if someone is coming from a very well-to-do family, they won't have an appetite of stealing.
Hey, they are the
Right.
worst.
They are the worst. We learned that the hard way with our former president because the
Hmm.
misconception was he's coming from a billionaire family in dollars. He won't need our resources and he was going to manage them
Hmm.
very well because by virtue of them being a business empire. So I think as a nation, people thought that, okay, if they have businesses in the banking sector, the agricultural sector, the real estate industry, and everything is flourishing, probably there's a possibility they are equally going to run the country into the right direction. And I think we saw what that did. And it was not to our favor, but to our detriment. Now,
Hmm.
this is the part that I feel as a people we need to factor in. I think in most cases we've been so much concerned at the presidency level, and we've neglected everything below the presidency. I don't know how your system works. For us, we have the governors, the senators, the members of parliament,
Mhm.
we have the women rep, and we have the MCAs. And
It's
all these,
literally almost the same, except the fact that we have very few female representation in Nigerian politics,
so
sadly.
and also sometimes we give them they're also nominated MPs and nominated senators, and normally it's to give the balance of equal opportunity to both women and disabled. When these people are campaigning, Glory, they will sing like canaries and they will be very eloquent with whatever is going amiss in the society. The moment they get in there and they sit on that table, they conveniently forget and they start suffering from selective amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part of the electorates, the people that go to the ballot and elect them in political positions,
Mm.
is that we focus so much on the presidency, we don't see the people underneath. Now, for us in the county government, for policies to be passed, the
Mm.
MCAs have to sit in the county hall, in the county government.
Mm.
And the worst part of it, irrespective of whether the fact that that policy is going to be beneficial to the citizen, you'll need to grease their hands for them to pass it.
Mm.
The same thing will happen in the national government. To an extent whereby sometimes you will find that people will come in and introduce policies that are not beneficial to us, but it's like they're doing the bidding of whoever is in power. So
Mm.
in most cases, you might think that you're living in a very democratic world, only for you to realize that everyone in government is actually in government, even the opposition. Because
Mm.
when a bill is being tabled, they'll be called behind the tent, dependent on how well you are able to bargain for the cut that you want. There are those who take chicken change, like maybe a merely
Mm.
100,000 shillings, to
Mm.
those who will ask to the tune of 1 million bob for them to append their signature and make sure that this policy is passed, irrespective of the fact that it's not beneficial to us.
Mm.
I want us as a people, irrespective of whether you're Kenyan or Nigerian, you see, when we go looking for opportunities, we are forced to prove that we are deserving of those positions.
Mm.
Can we equally do the same with the politicians and the leaders that come to us seeking to represent us? As a people, do we need to have civic education whereby we realize the power we have and that these people are of service to us and we are not their servants? They are our servants. So when someone comes to you and tells you they want to be your senator or your governor or your member of assembly, can we equally grill them in their own capacity before being leaders? What have they done in their own little societies, villages, where they sit? What is it that they've shown, they've achieved to give us the confidence, to give them the opportunity to represent us? And I believe it's equally high time. I don't know how we are going to do it, but we need to introduce punitive measures whereby if you're corrupt and you're found and you're guilty, can we equally take back whatever has been stolen so that it can go back to the society? Fill in the bag that has been left empty. Because I know right now, as we speak, in my country, the healthcare is going down the drain. And most of the time, you find that as a people, they introduce the same Medicaid that the American system is using. They forgot the fact that we are a developing country, that is a developed country. They changed the system that was working so well before, and they introduced the SHA system. And most of the time right now, when you go to get medical attention, most of the time you'll find that your name is not even in the system. And you wonder, which way forward? What are we going to do? But within less than a year, our medical system has been hit to the tune of 15 billion, money that cannot be accounted for. And we've gotten to a point whereby we're so tired and you're asking for accountability. Where is our money going? Right now, where we are sitting from, everybody is going home, not just the president. The president, the governor, the senator, the member of parliament, the MCA. Because for us, we've realized we have to overhaul the system. And right now, we are asking ourselves questions. Where were you when the finance bill was introduced? Which side did you pledge your allegiance? Were you for the people or were you for your tumbocrat? That is your stomach. I think the day as a people we realize the power we have and that these people are dependent on us and that they owe us accountability, because one of the things I equally struggle with back home is that when as a people we're trying to ask for that accountability, you hear phrases, there are functions who will say, you have to respect your elders. You have to respect authority. You cannot just ask bluntly like that. You have to ask in a very pleasant way. But when they're stealing, they're not stealing in a pleasant way. When they steal, their kids are taken abroad for studies. Our education system is lapsing out here. You find a situation where right now the healthcare system is going down the drain, but out of the blue, in the month of April, a flamboyant businessman from a neighboring country is coming into my country and they want to pump $35 million in a healthcare sector, whereas his country needs that more from him than us, which begs the question, who is the person behind it? Because you always know that the person that is in front of the camera is a facade. There's the main man behind. And our main man has invested in everything and anything under the sun. You find that there's something that was introduced in my country that we barely are in need of, affordable housing. And when it was introduced, we fought it and we equally won, because for us, we really go hard. What they did is they made it mandatory for the mwananchi or the citizen to pay taxes on affordable housing. I might have my own space. I don't need to pay that. Why are you introducing this mandatory tax that I know for a fact that I don't need? These houses are being developed on government land. But equally, the government is billing me that they did buy the said land from me, and they come with the perpetuation that the people or the squatters that were living there needed to be relocated. So I also equally need to make sure that they are relocated to an equally better place. So I'm paying double for the land and for the relocation. But behind the scene, the land belongs to the government. And probably the squatters were given a merely 50,000 shillings. But on my billing, billed 500,000. So the 450 difference, where does it go? In less than 2 years, we have so many flamboyant businessmen running around. But when you look at their salary as government officials or public servants, it does not tally with the wealth that they've been able to acquire and amass for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The judiciary is so corrupt to an extent whereby when people steal, they're like steal to an extent whereby you're able to pay or bribe the judge.
Hmm.
The judiciary is so rotten to an extent whereby the highest seat in the land, which is the Supreme Judge, can just be bribed by 1 billion shillings and everything can go in your favor. Which way forward? It's sweeping the street from the president to everyone under him. They need to prove to us they're of deserving of those political positions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not coming to do us a favor. They're auditioning to serve us.
Mm-hmm.
And also the other thing, the other culture I need us to adopt, the term His Excellency, honorable, they need to be earned. We're dishing it out here so freely. Most of these individuals have not earned the term honorable because there's nothing honorable with anything and everything they do. Why are we addressing them as honorable? Why are we, when we meet them, we treat them as demigods. We are pampering their egos. They are our servants. Can we get to a position whereby we realize that these people are here to work for us?
Absolutely.
I need us to get there as a people. And let me tell you, Africa will change. Al-Kebulan, as we know it, will change. They need to show us how they're using our resources, accountable to the last coin. And if you cannot account to the last coin, and I'm seeing that you're opening businesses out here, we will auction them. Let us recover something from what you've stolen. I hope for a better tomorrow. And I'm not losing hope. Because I think the one thing that I'll do as a disservice to myself is give up and feel like there's no way out. And I don't know when your election is going to be, but for us, our election is going to be in 2027. And we have made a pact that I think the Gen X and the millennials have placed us in quagmire situations. So we are going to be having very candid conversations with our parents to an extent whereby if we feel like you're very idiotic and you have myopic mindset matters voting, we will literally make sure that we bar you from going to vote. We will close those doors and even take that voting card of yours, because we're at a point whereby we are tired. This thing of God will see us through. God is not going to come down here and change the situation. We have to do the work because we've been given the free will to do so. And God can't come down. We have to do the work ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I think at some point we just need to say, you know what, to help with it. Let us sweep the house clean. Let us start from a clean state. Let us shape the table. And there's that fear of the unknown, and that is what is hindering us back. Let us remove that fear, because the moment we do that and we hold these leaders accountable, even the respective countries around us will respect us. Because right now we are in a situation whereby there's some African countries that feel they're well off and we are not of deserving to be amongst them. And we are suffering in their hands because our leaders decided to be nicompoomps out here. So in the next election, if you gave your member of parliament, your senator, your governor, your women rep, your MP an opportunity and they went and did the most idiotic things under the sun, don't give them another opportunity. Send them home. And anyone else who's coming in, let them prove to you why they're deserving of that position. while they're campaigning to be given the opportunity, they know exactly what the salary bracket is. So let us also be very mindful of people who come in and start going to parliament, and they'll start debating of how the salary is too low for them and they need an increment. Well, they were gallivanting, looking for those votes. They knew exactly what they were going to earn.
Mm-hmm.
So don't come
Absolutely.
in here and now you want me to also fund the lifestyle of your girlfriend and your spring chickens and your side hands. I can barely keep up or keep
Mm-hmm.
afloat. So if I have to struggle to keep my head above the water, why am I supposed to suffer for your girlfriend or your spring chicken to enjoy her life?
Um,
Mm.
hello.
Sorry,
Thank
please
you,
hold
Gloria.
on. Let's have
Thank
finish.
you.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Mara. Thank you so much, Mara. You know, it was just quite surprising and sad at the same time that everything you explained about your system there in Kenya is literally the same thing happening here. You know, the only difference is, as I mentioned before, that the corruption and impunity here being perpetrated by our politicians, they don't hide it. They do it in your face because they know that nothing will happen to them at the end of the day. You know, when
They
we
can
talk
get
about,
away with it.
yeah, they would definitely get away with it. I mean, when you listen to the Nigerian news, we recently we heard about how the minister in the FCT in Abuja, I think he commissioned some duplexes for, is it 40 or 50 um, members of the judiciary.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
yeah, I'm telling you that they do these things in broad daylight. And it is not hidden that the minister is working hand in hand with the president to give the president whatever he wants. Currently, the way this country is being governed, it's like the president has the entire parliament, you know, most of the governors, all the people surrounding him, they are like his babysitters. So whatever he wants, whatever he needs, they give it to him. The economy of the country is crumbling by the day. They keep on putting out over bloated figures in the media about how the president brought in this investment, that investment, blah, blah, blah. Whether it's true or not, we're not entirely sure. But is there an impact in the daily life of a regular Nigerian? No. But one thing we know for a fact is that those around the seat of power, their lives keeps getting better.
But
They are flourishing. But you, that's just a regular Nigerian, everything around you just keeps crumbling because none of the policies favor you or is even made to elevate your life. And you made a very key point, which, quite frankly, I think a lot of us Nigerians have been overlooking for a very long time. And that is the point of people are so focused on the presidency. We don't really focus on the people that will potentially work around the president in terms of people in the House of Reps, House of Parliament, you know, people don't really pay attention. That is so true. And something happened this week, you know, in Nigeria. I don't know if you're aware of a particular presidential candidate that left one political party and then went to another one, and it's currently causing an uproar from the opposition, which is the current ruling party. And because that man moved, his name is Peter Obi, he moved to another political party. Guess what? Some House of Rep members who used the party platform where he was before, as at 2023, when Nigeria had an election. Now, because that man was in that party, a lot of people voted straight down for every single individual that was campaigning for different offices. So
Jesus.
I'm telling you, this is a fact. The mindset of Nigerians at the time in 2023 was that, okay, this man is tested and trusted. Everybody that loves
Under
him
him.
wants, yeah, so they believe that everybody under him or beside him will equally be good. Guess what? when all this opposition crisis started, and the man, I think in December, he moved to another political party. Guess what? Even before he moved, most of, and I'm saying most of those people, and these people, a lot of them are young people in their 30s, in their early 40s. They left that political party and then they moved to the current ruling party. And there's this thing about the current ruling party. I'm sorry, but every time I think about it, it's like a gathering of abnormals, a gathering of
Of
people
ships in
that
the
have a
same.
track record of corruption
Yeah.
and whatnot. Now,
Uh-huh.
this presidential aspirant, he has moved to another political party, which is a neutral body completely. Guess what? Those people who left to the current ruling party from his
Have
previous
moved.
party, they are now rushing to his current party. So now, what a lot of Nigerian youths who are obviously very staunch supporters of this particular man, Peter Obi, they are now marking their names and their pictures and saying, okay, oh, they're going to continue compiling a list that come next year, 2027, in the next election. They're going to single out these people on that ballot and they will not vote for them. They will rather vote for other people whom they will probably investigate to see if they're actually better and suitable for that particular office. So it's crazy. I mean, the moment you said it, I just realized that, wow, this is actually true, you know? And it's so sad because currently in Nigeria, that is what it is. The fights and tussle towards the 2027 election,
It's already
everybody
begun
is so focused on the presidency.
on the
People are not even
presidency.
thinking about the Senate, the House of Reps. People are not even thinking about all that. People are just so focused on the presidency. It's so sad.
What we've done in our side, we realized that a lot of our brothers and sisters were, sorry to say, to use this word because it's a bit disrespectful, but we came to the realization that majority of us were very illiterate matters the constitution and the civic um, studies, or the civic duty as a citizen. So
Mhm.
what we've done, we are using the TikTok platform to sensitize voters of the expectations of the national government and the county government.
Hmm.
The other thing we've done is, right now, we've been able to identify that everyone that is coming out here showing interest that they want to vie in the next coming general election, it's been the same monkeys, different suckers. When you
Hmm.
look at Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, this guy has at one point been the vice president of the land.
Hmm.
He's been the minister of foreign affairs. He's been a minister. He's been in every docket imaginable in the land. When
Hmm.
you look at the impeached vice president, Mr. Kashagwa, he at one point was the district officer of the land, and he climbed the ropes all the way to the provincial officer, became
Hmm.
the personal assistant to the former president, and partnered with the current president and became vice president. And he's showing intention of wanting to run come next year. And he
Hmm.
was saying that, oh, if I get elected, I will straighten things out. And our question to him was, if you're not able to do it as a vice president and everything in between that happened, what makes you think that we can trust you with the highest authority of
Exactly.
the land? So
Exactly.
what us we've done, because right now I've started seeing a lot of governors saying, if you re-elect me, I will finish up on what I've started. You had 5 years to
Yes.
do it. In the county government of Migori, there's a governor there, and this happened this week. There was a convergence of a meeting, and the people decided to ask him, as a governor, what have you done for the people? Glory,
Hmm.
if I tell you what this man fixed his feet, he wears
Hmm.
glasses to stand and tell us, the people, what he's done for that county government. We were like, you're going home. In fact, please do not even come and tell us to give you an opportunity, because
Wow.
even the nomination in itself, you're not going to get it. This man fixed himself and stood and said that 4 years, because we're going towards the 5th where we're going to have the election.
Hmm.
He accounted for 3 boreholes and a pit latrine that he fenced as development.
3
the council.
boreholes.
3 boreholes and a pit latrine. And in his wisdom, he thought that someone can go and steal a pit latrine. So what he decided to do was fence the pit latrine.
Wow.
And the public coffers paid for that. And on the other hand, we asked him, there's 1,000 acres of land with gold mineral underneath that you've leased to a certain company without the public participation of the people. Who gave you the authority to decide that this was best for the people of Migori County? And he started just, rambling. We told him point blank, please, once your tenure is over, pack your bags and leave the office. Do not even try and go for nomination, because at that juncture, we are done with you. And if we have to cane you home, we will gladly do it for you. Another incident is in Kilifi County, whereby the former governor could not account for about 10 billion shillings. 2 billion was traced to the wife's account.
Huh?
The wife has never worked for the county government of Kilifi. 1 billion, somehow vanished, only for us to realize later that 500 million apparently went into building his governor's residency, only for us to realize when the new governor came that everything was processed in his name and not in the county government's name. So when the new county government came, the governor wanted to build his own governance residence. The former decided that our money was good enough to go and buy an apartment in London. Was spring chicken, not wine, but 2. Top floor.
Wow.
Buy a Rolls Royce for the lady.
Oh.
I mean, it's crazy, Glory. It's crazy. Sometimes you feel like your head is going to explode.
Oh, wow.
Our governor of Nairobi County asked for 5 billion shillings to mitigate matters flooding. Do you know when the heavy rain came, about more than 100 people lost their lives, and not even a single boat could be accounted for matters rescue. The boats that were seen were boats that belonged to private citizens. Glory, it has gotten to a point where in Nairobi County, when there is something that has happened that needs accountable leaders to come in and fix the shit, there's a comedian called Eric. People call him because he decided, you know what? He started an initiative called Sisi Kwa Sisi. It's us for us. No one is coming to rescue us. This young man has gone to the interior parts of Kenya to even build classrooms, only for the governor to go and tear it down because they were not asked for the permission to develop the said classrooms that never existed in the first place because the kids were learning under a tree. These people are devilish. They're rotten. They do not have a conscience. Their greed is insatiable. The affordable housing project that is being built left, right, and center. Can you guess who is supplying the cement, the steel, the ballasts, and the cut stones for the project? The highest authority in the land. Anything that happens within the land that needs catering, he has a hotel that will cater to that as well. So he's collecting a salary and at the same time billing the government. And I think the biggest mistake we've done as a people was allow politicians and leaders to also be in bed and do business with the government. That is where
True.
we went left.
All right, Mar. All right. Thank you so much because I'm getting messages here. Other people that have been here, they want to also contribute because some of them have to leave. But please, if you would still stick around, I would really appreciate that because
I'll
there's
be in
still
the
a lot.
background, my dear. I'll be
Yeah.
in the
Thank you
background.
so much. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
It's just insane how similar our realities are. Very insane. Okay, Oviman, I know you said you want to speak after the next person, but there's someone here, Charles, who has been messaging as well that he wants to go. He has somewhere to go. So, do you mind if he speaks first?
No problem, Glory. Let him go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Charles, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. How you doing, Glory?
Good. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Charles,
Yeah.
tell me thank you too. Tell me thank
Okay, yeah, thank you, thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, what should I say? You know, Africa has been the continent Africa has been on a downward spiral for 2 centuries. Now, what do I mean by that? Or let me even say 4 centuries. Let's start from the slave trade war, the first downfall of the African continent. The slave trade happened in the 16th century, where black Africans were sold. We did not recover from that. We had descendants from different places in Haiti, in Brazil, in Cuba, in Dominican, and then came colonization,
Mm.
which happened in the which if you people if I don't know if any of you have heard about the Berlin Conference that took place
Oh,
in
yeah.
what, the 18 is it 1854, where
I heard
group
about
of
that.
European, they came together and they said, oh, they're going to choose which part of Africa they'll take. You
Mm.
know, they came to our continent. To them, we were living ancient because we were all living wearing leaves and all that. But what these people forget to tell the world was that our region, with the weather, with the humidity, was far different, that made us live in those of our outfits, because they made the world know that we were living as animals, whereas our weather was supporting our movement. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, carry on. Carry
So
on.
our forefathers fought for African independence, from Ghana to Nigeria to Congo to Benin. They all fought. But I'm going to Nigeria now. But the mistake they made was trying to address the tribal issue of Nigeria. That was where they made a mistake. Nigeria has a tribal problem. It
Mhm.
has a religion problem.
True.
Now, I am not against any religion, but if your religion is urging you to kill someone because they don't believe in you, that is an abuse to right to freedom of expression.
Even freedom to
That is an
exist.
abuse to right to freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our forefathers, they did not address this tribalism issue. They served the country fine and dusted, because during that time, our passport was strong. Even the naira that people are making fun of was stronger than dollar and
Mm-hmm.
pounds. So what they failed to address, was that if these colonial masters will come back, they came back in a different form. They started giving us advice. Can you imagine? This same Nigeria gave money to IMF that's calling us poverty capital. We gave them money. They gave our leaders advice. Say, do not invest in education. Do structural adjustment program. Build refineries. Who does that? Our leaders. Listen to them. And look at what happened. The country educational system has fallen apart. Now, 2027 election, I am saying this. If Nigeria wants to win this war against this corrupt government, this corrupt cabal, it's not going to be through election. I'm sorry. You can have your preferred candidate, But this man, you see this man as our president, you saw how he came in through illegal means. Do you think he will sit down and let anybody rule them? It was this same man that brought in Buhari, who was there for 8 years. He himself even said it, that
Mhm.
he's the one that brought Buhari.
Mhm.
The only way Nigeria can rise to its because to me, Nigeria is a sleeping world power, whether you like it or not. She's a sleeping giant. She's supposed to be the one looking out for all these African countries, all these Caribbean countries, all these people in black people in America. She's supposed to be looking after them, but she
Mhm.
cannot. To me, if Nigeria wants to regain her relevance, we need a revolution.
Mm.
We need not an election, because even if the right person wins, they will not allow that person to get to office. Did you remember what happened to MK Abiola? How they
Mhm.
killed him because this man wanted to involve youth. Nigeria needs a revolution, not an election. Even this Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, all this stuff. I'm sorry, I don't support them. Obi was governor of Anambra State. The schools he built, are they the best in Africa? Are they the best in the world? Obi went to US senator to go and snap picture with them, snap picture with him to campaign. What is he sending? What kind of message are you sending us? Are you trying to run Nigeria for Nigerians, or are you running Nigeria for the Western world? I detest leaders who take pictures with all these people. That's why I love this Burkina Faso man, because he's against them. Nigeria needs a revolution, not an election. Shore has been saying it, but the thing is, Nigerians has been laughing at him, calling him a saint. The man, but I look at Nigeria and start saying, I was like, how can you people laugh at this man, call him saint, and say he cannot win? You have been praying, you have been praying, oh God, please give us a young leader, someone who is passionate. This man came in. This man came in, he ran for 2019 election, 49 years old. I listened to this man a manifesto. I read his manifesto. My goodness, I have never seen a manifesto this well written, detailed. I was so surprised. I said, so Nigeria has this kind of person, and they are banking on an article, a criminal, Tinubu, a hater of democracy, and Obi, who cannot even stand his ground and create his own party. He's busy jumping from party to party. It is how he will handle Nigeria against all these colonialist giants, all these countries, all these companies, foreign companies who are exploiting Nigeria. Is this how he will stand his ground against them?
But you know
I
what
was
each
so
and every
surprised.
single one of these candidates stand for, right?
See, when I look at candidates, I don't look at tribe. I look at your how because if you are becoming the president of Nigeria, you are becoming the president of Africa. You're going to stand for these African countries. You're going to stand against foreign countries who are companies who are coming to exploit us. And I looked at Obi, he cannot even stand his ground in his own party. I look at the people he's mingling himself with. These are criminals. They haven't even
Let
done
me
the
let me
time.
ask you a question. Now that you mentioned these presidential candidates, right? Do you think if Peter Obi creates his own political party today, do you think it will be useful to him for 2027? Looking at the political space, what's happening, how the opposition party, APC, how they have their tentacles everywhere, how they have openly even said it that, oh, yes, they have moles in different opposition parties. Do you think if Peter Obi creates his own political party today, do you think he'll be able to do anything with it? And
Yes,
do you also know what it actually takes to create your own political party that can have representation in different areas of the
my
country?
sister. Okay, Glory, let me ask you a question. Who are
You
the
are, you didn't
people?
answer my question. You want
No,
to answer, you
no,
ask me.
yes,
Answer
I
my
know, I know. I'm answering now. Who are the
okay.
people being oppressed in Nigeria? Is it not the masses like
Yeah,
me
it's
and
the
you?
message. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you side with the masses, when you create a party and you side with the masses, there is no way you cannot win anything because you gain the trust of them. And that's why I said OP cannot. I don't see him handling Nigeria's problem. I don't see him handling Nigeria's problem because look, okay, what's his name? Aisha Yusufu. She has been fighting for Nigeria. He's managed to get her on his side. This other guy, Randy Peters, he's managed to get him on the inside. This man that was arrested, Justice Crack, this was a fervent Obi supporter. He's rotting in jail. Obi hasn't said anything about him. He hasn't even tried to get him out of prison. All because he said something about the military. It's only Showore, this same Showore that they're insulting. This man is fighting for Nigeria. I don't understand what is wrong with us. We have
So
been
let me ask
crying.
you, who is your preferred candidate for 2027?
My sister,
Presidential candidate.
I am still doing research. I want to be crystal sure. But right now, the way I'm looking at things, I'm leaning towards Showore, because for him to leave diaspora, this man was living in New York. For him to live there and come and challenge these people, and I've looked at his record, I have not seen no corruption or anything. Even the government fear him the most. That should tell Nigerians something. But Nigerians are telling him to go and run for local government chairman. Someone as intelligent as that. I listened to a lecture about him, how he explained how the United States made petrodollar economy, how they use the dollar for the petroleum prices around the world, making the dollar stronger. I was surprised he knew all this, and I sat down. I was in awe. I said, how come this man? How come this man is not our president? So it is shocking. What will save Nigeria and Africa is revolution. Don't bring
Hmm.
these criminals back. Don't bring these criminals back. You said you want a new Nigeria, yet you're adding thieves, corrupt men who have finished Nigeria. No, come on. It's pathetic. Look at us. We're suffering xenophobic attack in South Africa. Our leaders are saying they'll boycott South African companies. The Oshomole was the governor of Edo State. What did he do? How did he empower Edo youth? Nothing. This is not a few months ago that he was seen hanging out with a South African lady inside jets. Then he said it's AI. What are we saying here? What will save
Hmm.
Nigeria is revolution. And you see that constitution, that 1999 constitution, it has to be thrown away, because that constitution also protects corrupt governors. So you can have a right president, but the governors can be so corrupt that they will not even listen to OB. You understand? So
Hmm.
many things need to be done. Even this INEC needs to be reformed. INEC needs to be reformed. Constitution needs to be reformed. Then Nigeria will take its place as a world power. For now, eh? For now, we need a revolution. Massive uprising. Massive uprising. Nobody is coming to save us.
Hmm.
Black Americans, African Americans fought against slavery for how many years? That shows you tenacity and resilience. French Revolution happened. Everybody fought for their country to be better. They said enough is enough. We have to, for the sake of future generations. We have
Hmm.
to. We have to. It's very important. It pains me
Okay.
to see. It pains me to see my fellow countrymen being killed in South Africa. It pains me to see my fellow countrymen being insulted by being killed in the borders, trying to cross over to Europe. It pains me so much. A country that is bigger than UK, a country that's bigger than France in terms of size and population and resources, is struggling because of leadership problem. Come on, we have to
Hmm.
save our country, no matter what. And it is not election. It's true revolutionary protest. Nigeria needs a revolution. It needs a reset. There are so many problems we have not touched by. We have not looked at the tribe issue. We have not looked at the religious issue. Ask yourself this question: why is it that every tribe is having problem? They don't see themselves as one. But USA has so many people living in together and they seem peacefully. Same thing for the UK. Nigeria needs a revolution. It needs a revolution. Singapore,
Hmm.
Qatar, all of them that have moved past us. We're still in the doldrum. We cannot produce electricity. We're producing 5,000 megawatts for a country of 200 how many million people. It's so sad. It is so sad. We need a revolution. We need to hit reset. And for me, election should not go on. There's no way. There's no way you can say we're doing democracy, government for the people, by the people. Yet you are forcing us candidate on our head. No, that's just rubbish. Me, election should not hold on until they reform that INEC, remove every corrupt person. Because this man, Tinubu, will come back and he will finish Nigeria. He's not done destroying it. He will destroy it more. And you will not recognize it. Say, look at every day now, pray for just, pray for this, pray for that. They are killing people innocently. And some people are singing on your mandate, which has that. What kind of madness is that? What kind of madness is that?
All right. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much,
welcome.
Charles. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
thank you,
Charles.
thank you for
There's a
having me.
lot, yeah, there's a lot to actually say, and I'm careful not to say certain things because, to be honest, I'm not a fly on the wall of most of these politicians when they are having their meetings. So I can't say for a fact that, okay, this is what it is, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Um, Personally, in a way, I kind of agree with you because, as I said, I feel like Nigerians, we're so docile.
Yes,
A lot of times, I think one of the major problems we have as a people is we're always looking for a messiah, a knight
exactly.
in shining armor. And that is why when one person stands up and begins to speak, everybody focuses all their hope on that person. Certain influencers who have made it their own calling to fight for, in quotes, the poor and the vulnerable. And
Yes,
now, when you look at it very well, you can tell that some of those influencers, they've become a tool in the hands
exactly,
of the opposition party.
exactly.
And that is why I am not one of those people that will be singing the praises of any particular political influencer and carrying them on my head. No, because if you check correctly, I don't want to name names, but if you check correctly, you
I
see
know
that
what you
some
mean.
of them, they have become a tool, a weapon in the hands of the opposition party. But just as you said, Nigeria needs a revolution. I
Yes.
personally agree. And by revolution, I do not think a revolution needs to be violent with
It's not,
bloodshed.
no,
No,
no, it will
it
not be
doesn't have
violent. It
to.
cannot be violent. Or we
Yeah,
just do a peaceful protest. We are going in there. We
exactly.
want a reform. We want to reform the INEC. We want to reform
Yeah.
our constitution. We want to
And come
reform
out in
everything.
numbers. Come out
Exactly.
in numbers. Because at the end of the day, these people they're not even up to the 1% of this country. But we have
Exactly.
the numbers. So when we are silent, they feel more powerful. They become more audacious to do whatever they
Exactly.
want to do in broad
Exactly.
daylight because they know that the multitude of Nigerians will not do anything. So
Yes, yes.
that's
And and
1%. They keep doing whatever they want to do.
and in a weird way, I'm so happy that other countries are rejecting us because it's a wake up call. It's a wake up call.
Hmm.
We have to fix your home. If your home
Hmm.
is not doing well, people will not respect you. People will not
Exactly.
respect you. So I'm so happy that they are
Hmm.
rejecting us. I said it
Hmm.
before. The French people, they had their own revolution. America had their own revolution. Every
Hmm.
country had their own revolution. They had to go
Mhm.
back to their past and sort out issue. I'm saying is
See,
that
yeah,
if we want,
if I was one of those immigrants that are just being chased out of South Africa and any other country around the world, or even by ICE in the US, if I was one of those people, with that pain and frustration of the number of
exactly.
years I have invested in building my life and structure over there, and then they threw me back to this hell hole called Nigeria, trust
Hmm.
me, I will mobilize people. In fact, those people that they are chasing back, they're even the ones that should even start with that anger to start
Exactly.
demanding for
That
a
was why.
better country. Honestly, because now they're coming back, they're going to start from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. They lose everything. That was why. See,
They've lost everything.
that's why I respect him. That's why I respect Shawari. He left. He said it that he wanted to open a Sahara Reporters in Bradford, Lagos, to employ people. They had to stop down the business. He was so angry. So why would you do that? He said he's tired of a Nigeria that is not working. That he has lived there for 20 years in America, and he's so tired that he's coming back to take Nigeria. And that's why I respect him for that. And I looked at his background. He doesn't have no corruption background. Very clean man, very clean man. I just hope that we get so angry and we go in there peacefully I demand that we want a revolution. No more thieves. No more thieves. No more incompetent people should rule us. You are there to serve us, not to rule us. There's a difference. You are
All
there to
right.
serve us, not to rule us. For the sake of our future generation, nobody will respect someone who ran away from their country and their country is in shambles. I mean, shambles. Because that nonsense that Donald Trump did in the air to Nigeria, he threw missiles. He cannot do it to some countries. He knows. Can he do it
Mhm.
to China? He will throw missiles inside China. Can he do it to North Korea? But it's Nigeria. Look at now. They're trying to build a base. Turkey is trying to be a base in Nigeria. For what?
That
In order
that
to
if the
help
base has
us.
already been built already.
Just they're
Anyways,
just
thank you so
selling
much.
us out.
Thank you. Thank you
Th-
so much, Charles. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you,
I
thank
really
you. And please,
appreciate your
please,
contribution.
sorry, Gloria, do me a favor, please. Try to make this viral. Like I don't know how you're gonna do it with YouTube algorithm, but try to make it viral. We need everybody to listen to. We need a massive revolution, peaceful protest, and whoever that said protest don't work in Nigeria is a lie. The end bad governance protest, he didn't get rid of them, but he made them increase our minimum wage. So they should stop saying that because it's our money that they're stealing, not their own money. They are the ones stealing our money. They're there to serve us, not the other way around. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. Thank you. OV man, thank you so much for your patience. You are welcome. The floor is yours to speak.
Yes, Glory, my sister. God bless you. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having me,
You're
and
welcome.
thank you for for deciding to take on this very challenging road, but I think it is the most important road for our society.
Yeah.
And you remember, I was also one of the people that was encouraging you to to do more of this, and
Yeah.
thank God that you also have that passion.
Thank
Um,
you.
uh, some of the challenges that we are having is like, for example, now with the title and everything that we've been talking, we came up here to try and talk about, the system, what is going wrong, how our society can change for the better. But
Mm-hmm.
some of you've seen the challenges that sometimes we face. People will use the opportunity to try and do campaign for their political whoever they want to support, and which is funny. It's funny, but what can we do? So the thing is, Nigeria as a whole, the problem the problem is not is like there are some things that everybody that have spoken, there are some things that they say that I really agree with, to be honest, from the first man that spoke to even the last person now before me.
Mm.
I agree with a lot of the things they have spoken about. And the thing is that Nigerian situation, I can say, like, one of the biggest problem is is um is the human worship and the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
the human worship culture, which is something they don't have in places like maybe Kenya, like the our
Mm.
sister spoke. The human worship and the big manism. Do you know
Yeah.
do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Politics
Right.
or lifestyle is not just in politics. You
Mm-hmm.
just hit somebody on the road, you see someone come out and say, "Do you know who I am?" And even if
Mm.
you're saying sorry, you'll be like, "I will make sure I deal." So
Mm.
it's that mentality, and that is why these some of these politicians are able to weaponize poverty. They're able
Hi.
to weaponize poverty, and somebody will tell you that is connection, that is grace, when they are benefiting from corruption. They'll
True.
tell you they'll tell you that it's connection, and it is grace, it is favor. They
Mm.
might, like you said, they might even go to the church and give testimony for favor.
Ah.
That that they might go to church and give testimony for favor, and meanwhile
They do.
corruption is what has given them the the mirage, not
Mm-hmm.
even the favor itself. So um that's exactly one of the reasons why we are. And you see, another big thing, like the last speaker also mentioned, which is also true, even though I don't agree with all these
Mm,
cheap campaigns that people are trying to do. They want to turn your platform to some campaigning ground and and trying to disregard other people, which is wrong. But one of the things he said that I agree is also that the tribal issue, the tribalism is that the politicians, they always use tribe, and it's not just a Nigerian thing. Is an African thing. It's like
mm,
in some other places in the Western world, maybe they'll use race and
mm,
religion, but you see, in Africa, it's mostly a tribal thing. And you see, when politicians are trying to hide from scrutiny, or when they're trying to hide from accountability, they
mm.
now use the tribe. They'll say,
True.
those people are attacking us. They don't
Mhm.
want to, and you see, they try to rile up the emotions of the people. So when they
And
say
that's
those
what they've been
people are,
doing for the past how
yeah,
many years now?
exactly, that's
The
what they've been doing.
Yorubas against Igbos and vice versa.
That is the fundamental reason why we are where we are right now. And
Mm-hmm.
also that was part and parcel of the whole strategy that they used in the last election in Nigeria. You remember very well.
True. True. Mm-hmm.
Tribe, we against those. You remember when they say Mama Chinedu don't come out to vote or something like that
In Lagos,
in
Nigeria,
Lagos?
yes.
And that's
Yeah.
why when you see some of these hypocrites online talking about xenophobia in South Africa, meanwhile you are, what will you call the one you're doing to your people in the same country?
Mm-hmm.
Whereby you go out and you're telling people not to come out to vote if they are not going to vote for your own candidate, whereby you go
Yes.
and destroy the businesses of people because you think that they are not going to vote for your own.
Mm-hmm.
They even attack people. There's
Mm-hmm.
that woman that, I don't know, they said they blinded her eye or something. So
Yeah. And she came back to the polling booths.
thank you so much. So you see, this is part of the reason why we are where we are. The moment Africans from the grassroots, because we might say, oh, we want to say that, oh, the people are not tribalistic, the politicians. You see, everybody is tribal in nature. But now we need to be able to, some of us have been able to use that our tribal. We don't put it in terms of making rational decisions, but we love
Mm-hmm.
our culture, we love our tribe. We love the things that make us who we are. But you see, these corrupt politicians have been able to, harness that part of turning that your tribal identity, some things that you like, they now bring politics into it. And they say, you see,
Yes.
since we like ourselves, we like our people, so why don't we become the people that is in power? So, and before you know, they will start misleading their people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why everywhere they will mislead their people. When even when they are being prosecuted for something wrong that they do, they will say that we are being attacked, just to
Mm-hmm.
rile up the emotions. And also they do it to create a base for themselves.
Mm.
When they are trying to create a political base and all that, they go through the tribal way. And
True.
y- you know so but the thing about since we are going there, I don't think the main issue is this. We keep on talking about constitution of Nigeria. Of course, we need a lot of things to be changed there, especially the decentralization and the regional. If we can have a very serious decentralization, it will be very good. Because, and that's why I was surprised when the first I think speaker said something about Gowon. Gowon is the person that stopped the Aburi Accord, that they went to Ghana to do,
Mm.
that they wanted to bring the regional system of government, and they want to, so that everybody will be responsible for their own development, and everybody can hold their own regional leaders accountable.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, after they came back from Ghana, he canceled the whole thing. Yeah, so you might say, oh, there are external forces, but he's the front man, he's the one people know, he's the president, he's the one that officially did not follow it. And before you know what, because it was a shock. It was a shock to the people from the East because we were just in Ghana. So what happened? So you see, out of
Mm.
that tension and shock and everything, they had to declare that they are seceding from Nigeria, which now led to the whole Biafra, the Nigerian civil war.
Mm.
And
Mm.
the thing about revolution, the thing about revolution is that, remember, and that's why I say sometimes some people come in through some very sneaky way. The same Peter Obi, you remember when he was just starting, when they were accusing him that he does not have structure, he does not have
Mm,
national presence,
mm,
they don't know him, they only know him in the, these are like naysayers. So they come out like they are being constructively, they are criticizing constructively, but they're
mm,
actually trying to attack the person. So
mm,
when you see them come out and say things like, you know, the same people that were accusing him of that are the same people now. They don't have any other thing to say now that he has penetrated the whole part of the country. In the
mm,
north, it's going everywhere. So now the new one is, oh, you're jumping from one political party to the next, and you
mhm.
forget that any political party he goes to, the system comes with all of their forces to try and destroy that political party because they know
Absolutely.
because they don't want him to succeed there. And it
Mm-hmm.
keeps on, like now the latest one. In fact, it's not even about Peter Obi for me, but I hate to see when people put false narratives. So, but the latest one is that he was so clever enough to be able to have worked some things out with another party while he was still in the other party. And
Mm,
remember somebody, I don't know, I saw it on I think Arise News. They said the man had already started doing that even from the time before he even joined this
mhm.
current ADC that is going down the drains.
Yeah, remember the
Yeah,
visit he had to the what's the
yeah,
man's name? Is it Seriki or what's his name?
Derek, thank you. With
That meeting
Jonathan,
they had, I suspect
yeah,
that that was what they went to discuss. So he already
exactly.
foresaw it. Yeah.
He has already seen everything because he knows the people he's dealing with. There's no way. So you want you have to be strategic. You have to
Mm-hmm.
think you have to think ahead of your opponents. And the thing is that one thing I know, people keep on saying that Peter Obi, for me, it's not even a matter of what have you done in where you are. One thing I know for sure is that the man have shown is is not a corrupt politician. So when somebody has shown that he's not a corrupt politician, because where he's from, they look for, trust me, if that man had any single corruption to his name, it will
Mm-hmm.
be what the media will talk about day and night. You
They
know
would have
that,
picked
Glory.
him up since now. The
Thank
EFCC would have
you.
picked him up since.
Exactly. They have looked for everything. They have done. He's even telling them, go and look for.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that man, one thing I know is that you cannot be corrupt under him.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why I don't agree with the people saying that it's not about the leader. You have to, it's not about the president. You have to. Let me tell you, the people that used Labour Party to get to where they went to get to, and that rode on they rode on the wave of Peter Obi, and they are
Yeah.
not delivering. Those people, their only saving grace was that Peter Obi did not get in.
Mm.
Because you need to understand that the way the man operates, which is why they are criticizing him and insulting him that he's not giving shishi. And the time he gives shishi now, though, you will see everybody will come out and say, so he's also as corrupt as these people that are giving money, using money. So never take the criticism of your enemy, the advice of your enemy, because it comes out like a goodwill, but it's actually just they're trying to set a trap for you. So
Mm.
the same people, so the man himself, if he had gotten into that place, I can assure you. Now, if you look at other countries, somebody is saying that you should not listen to Traore, you should not use Traore.
Mm.
Every part of the world, it all starts from the top. I'm telling you,
Mm.
if the top has a direction that there will be no corruption, there's no, but if you do it under him, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're lucky, if it's not going to be a dictatorship. If it's a normal democracy, then maybe the legal arm of government and all that, the you know the political system or the judiciary and all of that. But if it's a dictatorship, how will you even survive? So you look at a place like Rwanda, and you're expecting somebody under Paul Kagame to be stealing. Is it possible? Or you look at someone like that Traore and you say somebody under him will steal. Or you look at someone like Museveni and you say somebody under him will steal. So you need to understand that once the top has, or even America, for example,
Mm.
there's nobody under the MAGA coalition that will go against what Trump wants. You understand?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's how I see the whole thing. And
Mm.
we should stop this thing of trying to group everything about the colonial masters. Let me tell you, the colonialists don't care if you think the colonialists are there advising your president, don't make sure that you don't generate power, enough electricity for your people. Or you think the colonialists or the neo-colonialists are there advising your president that you shouldn't build roads, or that everybody should steal money? So it's the easiest talking point that sometimes we run to. You can talk about policies, you can talk about some economic whatever policies, but sometimes in Nigeria, people are even asking for the most basic thing sometimes,
Mhm.
which is, can you even generate electricity? Because remember, the current leadership said that if he does not generate electricity, if he does not give Nigerians light, that they should not vote for him the second term.
Shebi he has
Now,
solar now in his office.
yes, Kola, thank you. You see, so you cannot do the basic thing, the basic things. Do make sure that the roads are more, they are good. You have proper drainage systems, and you have electricity that will even generate jobs, that will even encourage more people to enter into business. That will also add, that will reduce poverty in the country. So you can't do the basic things, and you're looking for how you want to compete with there's no way, there's no wisdom now that you bring, or there is no type of development you want to develop that will make you to be able to fight, for example, the United States if they come to fight with you. Even UK cannot stand Germany, or let's say the United States. So, but people are focusing on what they can solve. Do their, create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive, basic infrastructures. And people are thinking of how to, and I'll just, for now, let me stop by saying that, you see, the tribal thing is something that it has really affected Nigeria. It will continue affecting. You will see it right now. It has already started, but it will get worse closer to the election. You will see people
Yeah.
that will come out. You will see people that will come out and start talking about it is us versus them. It
Mhm.
is we, these people. Make sure So, and another thing is that, Glory, you have to be ready, because they are both the ignorant normal people will come and be commenting and be
Mhm.
saying all manner, and the ones that are also professionally assigned to do that,
Mhm.
they're everywhere online. They will also come out and be saying the same thing, and you sometimes you will think they are normal people, but they are agents. They come out, they will be in the comment section, they can even join the panel, because
Mhm.
I've been doing this political commentary for some time, and we know them. So it's quite unfortunate. But for if we're talking about politicians, um, Peter Obi have shown that he's not a corrupt person. He has shown it. If you have contrary proof, so you bring it and show people that this is what he has done that is wrong. It's a lie. Every place, they tried to accuse him that he said that they brought one clip that he said some time back that you know that it's not good for people to jump from one party to the other. But
Mhm.
some other people now went and brought the clip where he said that every single political party he has been to, they always frustrate him out of it by trying to
Mhm.
destroy that party, or by trying to the whole thing. And that is
Mhm.
what has been happening. So this one now is going to be very clear for everyone. If they come to destroy the NDC, so what will even be the excuse that they will have for the NDC now? Maybe they will say that remember, they are now trying to pit Jonathan against him. And the
Mhm.
good thing is that Jonathan is a politician that he smiles with everybody, but his actions are different. So he will not attack anybody, but he knows. You think these people are not fools. Jonathan knows that they're trying to use him to derail whatever, and that's what they did. It's not the first time they did that in the last election. They say, "Oh, Jonathan is running, is running." Jonathan also did not say anything. Oh, okay, you people want me to run. At the end, he did not run.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is wisdom. And the same Showore that somebody was promoting here was one of the people, the main forces that they used against Jonathan. He's one of the main forces they used against Jonathan in the last election. During Jonathan's time, I mean. So what are we talking about? The Sahara reporters every day, the match, the now you see the last thing I'll say is that you see the church, you see Redeem, um, the Redeem,
Mm-hmm.
now this tribalism, political, whatever, everything is even inside the church.
Mm-hmm.
There's a statement, there's a news I saw some few days ago that they said they are not going. Some people are calling for the first lady to be removed as pastor. That how can she be a pastor and all that stuff? And they said they released a statement that uh, they are not going to do that. That she has been a pastor before her husband became president and all that. So do you see that clip of her during the time of Buhari when they were campaigning for Buhari, where she was telling that clip is all over the internet. If you go and type, you will see it, where she was telling I think she was talking to an Igbo woman, and
Mm-hmm.
she told her that you people that we don't trust you because she thinks that they are not going to vote for Buhari because this thing have started before. Like that's why the president is able to say that he's the one that him is Buhari. He said that he's just Buhari, so it's the same person that they are the one that puts him
Mm-hmm.
there. So nobody's accusing him. That's what he said. Now
Yeah.
this woman made a statement saying that if they don't, that they are going to Amaje Ogunyi, we will take all the. That means we will eat your wealth. We will
Yeah.
take everything you own just because of you think they are not going to support your person.
I saw the
And
video. Yeah.
yes, and the a church, have they even condemned? Have they even, distanced themselves from such behavior? Have she even given an official apology that she doesn't, she didn't mean to say those things to a tribe in the same country? You're generalizing the whole people. I don't need to be able to speak on these things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of, and that is a pastor. And you remember when all of them was marching during the time of Jonathan that they want to change what's the name of the other one? Tunde
Subsidy
Bakare,
is gone.
all of those people, they all were marching that they want to change the country. All of a sudden now they cannot march. In fact, I don't think they even see any problem. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So it's quite unfortunate. And all this, thank you, Glory, for mentioning the part of some of these activists that they come online. They say they are activists and they try to see if they can before when people start gathering, because the whole thing is like make people gather. When
Mm-hmm.
everybody gather, then try to steer them into a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. And when they notice that they are being exposed, people don't understand the side of how these things operate. So when they notice they're being exposed, then do one or two good things. Do one or two good
Mm-hmm.
things so that those people will gather again. So, but
Mm-hmm.
when they are gathered, now try again to move them. Make sure they don't go. You see, one of them will come out and say, when everybody is seeing the truth, that one will come out and say, me, I cannot join these people to just support.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of that's the game they are playing. That's the
And they
game they
come
are.
out and say that, oh, I'm not supporting any politician.
Thank
I don't
you,
believe in
thank you.
politicians. But guess
Yeah.
what? You see them in the same caucuses. Well, like
In
there are some videos that just before you see them in the same caucuses, and then you see them paying courtesy visits, and then it's all fishy. But the most annoying part is how gullible the Nigerian youths are. They are so gullible to be misled. And because they are looking for a messiah so bad,
mm,
they that little good that so-called political activist or influencer does, it
mm.
blinds them to the reality that they are being steered towards the wrong direction. It is just
Yes,
so
yes,
sad.
yes. And that's because of the culture of human worship. Don't
Yeah.
forget that don't forget these are the same people that will be online, even people of 30 something, 40. They will be
Mhm,
online fighting about whiskey and Davido. So these are the same people that will be singing praises of people that they don't know.
mhm,
So is that it's a culture, and it came from our culture of respect. Then some people tried to now corrupt it and made it something about um worshiping them. So you see, the
Yes.
politicians, they're able to harness that part of, okay, we have this culture of respect. There's a tribe that they can even prostrate for you, so it's a beautiful thing. I admire that. But now you have to be very careful, because there are some evil people that will come out and try to use that energy for you to worship them even when they are doing evil. You
Mm-hmm.
can't criticize them. You think
Mm-hmm.
some people are there claiming respect. Do you know why are you rushing to go to the Western world?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they have respect there? So if your respect has helped you, why are you rushing to go to the developed world? You think they built their country on telling people the truth and calling out foolishness and calling out corruption. Even if you're 85-year-old trillionaire and you do something, you see a boy of 15, 16 can come out and say you're a very stupid man. So that is how it works. But these people, because of that culture of, you see them just on your own time, go online, whether any online platform of your choice, choose and see the way these people are behaving, like, like human worshippers, worshiping people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're worshiping someone, how are you able to see when that person is, taking you in a wrong direction?
Mm-hmm.
Then you come out and you call yourself, when you say you're ra whatever, I don't want to mention names, or you say you are whatever group, you start giving yourself groups names, and that's the issue. And that's why I don't like also this thing of people saying, that the Gen Z, the millennials, you see, the tribalism and this mentality is spreads across board. I've seen people that are even Gen X, that are, and saying millennials. Do you know the youngest millennial is 29? That's not an old person. They are
Mm-hmm.
millennials of 30 something. So you can't even forget about the millennial Gen Z thing. If anything, in fact, the Gen Zs should be closer to the millennials. Maybe they will be able to, from experience, they will learn some stuff. Maybe if you're talking about the boomers, because they have gone so far and they've seen the world so far, nothing surprises them anymore. So maybe, but I think the Gen Z, millennials, even some part of the early Gen X, they can see all these things. So I don't like when we are start, because what they do is that when they create that divide, that's how they rule people. This is Gen Z. Then before you know, they'll push Gen Z. Then some politicians, some corrupt politicians, will come out and use those Gen Z and steer them into a different direction. You know. So that's how I see some of these things.
Thank
We have to
you.
we have to be careful. We have to also be watchful. And it's quite unfortunate that when we start talking about these things, instead of people sticking to the truth, you
Mm-hmm.
see some people now with their propaganda. And I understand I don't support and I don't agree when these people that are professionals, paid online propagandists, are doing it, because that that's what their job is. But when
Mm-hmm.
other people like us, we should be able to know better. We should be able to,
Mm-hmm.
to be wiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Ovi man. Thank you so much. A lot said, a lot of valid points. I'm looking at this comment here on the screen. Tayo Latunji, obviously you're referring to Ovi man as a dishonest chap, because he said the things he said to the credibility of Peter Obi. Well, if you think otherwise, kindly go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section, or maybe you click on the link to come and share your contribution. All right. We would not call another person here a dishonest person, because everybody has a right to their own opinion and their perspective to how they see things. All right. Remember, the crux of the matter in today's conversation is we are tabling the problems of Nigeria and Nigerians, and we're also seeking for solutions, a way forward. So, no name calling is necessary. All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay. And Ovi man, from all you said, frankly, I just wanted to chip this in that one thing that I really hope for Nigeria and Nigerians is that a time will come where in the nearest future, that's my hope, that a time will come where we put aside tribalism, we put aside religion, and we look at the life and the credibility and the values that an individual politician holds and what impact that person can create, you know, for the country and for the lives of the people, also looking away from political parties, but instead focusing on the individual. And I think it also leads to the point where I just really hope that Nigerians call for the abolishment of the strength and monopoly that political parties actually hold. Because I think this power of political parties, I think it's also a huge problem in this country, where a political party might hold probably 1,000 people. And out of that 1,000, there's probably just one person of credible reputation. And then the rest, they're just criminals, criminal elements, selfish elements, bigots who are just there, just sitting down and waiting for one person to get into power, and then that person will not be sharing money for the rest of them. Because if you think about it, that is what most of these political parties are for. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of political parties in Nigeria, they should not even exist. They're just useless. Very, very useless. I am looking forward to a Nigeria where when it comes for election, it should be the candidates that people are actually voting for. People are not even going to be considering the political parties because, truth be told, a lot of these political parties, they're just useless. Useless. Contain a lot of criminal, corrupt elements that do not want the good for Nigeria. As far as a lot of them are concerned, they would rather continue to increase the gap between the rich and the poor in this country. Even those who we deem as rich, a lot of them are not even safe because for some of them, so long as you're from this tribe or you're from this region in the country, you should be wrecked. You should not be rich. So it's a huge problem. And it's just so sad that a lot of Nigerians, they've been brainwashed to now start thinking that way. That, oh, because of this political party is filled with people from my region. So even though they are not delivering, even though they are not performing, we will still go ahead and keep them in power or even continue to vote for them to be in power. It's just so sad. But anyways, just
It's
keeping
crazy.
hope alive. Yeah.
Yeah, and this small scale of that there's somebody that will come and disrupt the entire system, and it's a it's a system. Are you trying to say that you don't want democracy, that we need to Nigerians? If you ask me, if it's possible to wish it into existence, I would just say, oh, it's good, let there be revolution and we change everything, and even if possible arrest all the corrupt politicians and go and put them somewhere or whatever. But you and I know that the people that are pushing that know that something like that is not happening anytime soon. So it is a perfect distraction. It sounds good, but we know it's not happening anytime soon. So we are going to keep on saying it to make sure that we disenfranchise the people that want to do it the proper way, or the current legitimate way. Because, and some people that are saying that you can't win by election, that is false. Because it all depends on how people show up. When everybody shows up, it's, you know what is called too big to rig. When everybody shows up, it's, these things cannot be rigged. And even if it is rigged, it is showing to the whole world clearly that this thing has been rigged. You see, like what the issue going on between the United States and Iran or whatever, that they want also a regime change there. If
Mm.
they are not able to get the rave, the trend that they want, they can't go in and just say, oh, we have removed the regime now, so we are bringing somebody. They need the people. That's why they keep on appealing to the people of Iran. Come out, march, take back your country and all that. But since they are not seeing it, they are where they are. So that is how life is. Everybody will come out, like what happened in Kenya, and I think 2008 or 7. There's that election that was a lot of people believed that the prime minister that later became the prime minister won, and because of that, but because of the felt that he was not in power, so he could not get in. But it was so obvious that there's a lot of people behind him, so the government had to force themselves to do a power sharing deal. So sometimes it all depends on how people show up. And it doesn't matter how corrupt the system is, if the people come out, if everybody comes out, there's nobody that believes that someone like Donald Trump could win. It's not only about Donald Trump. So Kenya is not America, in case someone wants to use the excuse of that is the advanced democracy. Kenya is in Africa. So that's how I see it, Glory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Olivier. Thank you. All right, we're going to speak with comparable facts. Hello, you're welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, greeting. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, if I may ask, are you from Nigeria? You look like somebody from the East Africa.
Because of my forehead.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
Nigerian. I'm Nigerian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I saw the first time I saw this platform was last week, and the topic was concentrated on South Africa. And
Yeah.
when I first came in, I saw it was pretty much by South Africa, topic. But I hope there's some South Africa in this conversation, because I don't want to regurgitate what everybody been saying about Nigeria. Sometimes I get tired of Nigerian topic. I've been on different platform, but having said that, I'm just gonna make a few comment in reference to what everybody was in Nigeria. Then I will concentrate most of my narrative about South Africa. That's because that's the reason why I came in here. So having said that, I mean everybody's right what they have said, from different angles, whether somebody supporting or be supporting Sowore. On a, let me be clear, caveat, I'm a Obi supporter, so I'm not gonna hide that. Any day, anytime, I will go with Obi because I find him to be the most suitable person to rule that Nigeria. Because like somebody has said, if Obi character matter, very much for me. This is the way I look at things. I mean,
Mm,
is he gonna come and save Nigeria? I don't know. But going by his antecedent in Nigeria, what he created, you may looking at Obi as a quiet person. The guy is not quiet. If you look at what he did, in Anambra, I'm not from Anambra. I mean, both he was very, handed in terms of corruption, crime, and everything. So, I know a state you can't use a state to judge a country like Nigeria. This is exactly what we are getting right now. There's this
mm,
illusion that Tinubu built Lagos, which is definitely wrong. What Tinubu is practicing in Nigeria right now is what I consider to be a mafia kind of government. I don't find him to be a strategic. People call him that Tinubu is a master of strategy. No, it's a mafia politics. That's what he's practicing in Nigeria. So that's the angle I'm looking at it. And he's
mm,
not the only one. Nigeria, we are worse off than we are in 2023. In all,
mhm,
if you look at the whole indices where we are, where do you want me to start? But I don't want to go line by line. Nigeria is
mm,
poor right naira, everything, devaluation and everything. I'm not saying, some of the policies are good on paper, but
mhm,
practically, all he's doing is more considered to be a microeconomist. There's nothing practical that is helping the country. The country
mhm,
is down worse. I consider, I'm not in Nigeria, but I hate to say that. I consider Nigeria as a failing state. You need to be studied how not to be a failing state. That's what Nigeria is. And we are not
mm,
going anywhere. And I don't know who's going to come and rescue Nigeria. I'm not saying Obi is going to come, but if you are not doing well, this is my own principle about life. This is my own ideology. If you are not doing well, vote the person out. Let's try another person. Even at all, say Atiku or whatever. I'm not Atiku fan, okay? Let's try somebody else, and see what he does. And if he doesn't do well, we vote him out. If you're
mhm,
looking for Tinubu, if you look at Tinubu record at this first year, he already in office, and he has not done anything to exemplify
mhm,
what he is. What do you think when he become a lame duck president? Man, Nigeria is finished by then. I'm serious. Your first 4 years supposed to be an epitome of what you are capable of doing. That's supposed to be your good scores card, and you are not doing anything right now. You're taking Nigeria more than they were in 2023. I mean, I can't even say what area. policy wise, yeah, IMF and whatever borrow you money, they praise you, and all that kind of nonsense, because they want to colonize it. This is the problem we have in Africa. So,
Mm.
but anyway, let me leave Nigeria issue alone. I don't want to regurgitate what everybody has said. Everybody has said something good, and of course, I differ with some people about the opinion when it comes to Nigeria. Whether Shewore or whatever, which I don't consider Shewore to be anything but an activist. But that's my strict opinion. So people coming here to say that Shewore revolution is going to save Nigeria. I don't know. I don't know about that. But having said that, I hope there's some South Africa here because what I'm going to say right now is going to be very, uncomfortable. But it's a topic. I'm not going to abuse anybody or whatever, but it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. And I hope the South Africans are listening. I hope, if they're not, I know they're on the platform. Let them, jump in, and come and, conversate with me, give their own opinion. It'd be very useful. So what we're really going on in terms of Africa right now is just nothing really new. Africa is not united. We
Mhm.
are this unit. That's a fact. I mean, some people blame it on colonial border and division. I mean, they said the Europeans, when they came in the 19th century, they, during the Berlin Conference, they divided Nigeria. So that's why we have ethnic groups split across the country, different language, different legal system, and competitive neighbor state. I mean, that's been a long time ago. We can't keep on blaming our master up till right now. A lot of us has been free. Nigeria has been free, since 2000 and, 1960. We're supposed to have been somewhere. There was a time Nigeria was great. Nigeria was great, but we have plateau. Now we are regressing. But the problem with Africa is we have a problem. I don't know what it is about about the black country. We keep on blaming the colonial master. No, I don't buy that anymore. I mean, if you look at some country in Asia like Singapore and everything, China, we were better than them long time ago. Look at where they are right now. I mean, in terms of economic power and everything you can talk about. So that's it. So let me concentrate my main subject on South Africa. You know,
Mm.
South Africa, let me be very clear. I'm not going to come here and say, okay, we help them or what, because a lot of these people marching right now, most of them weren't born. But having said that, I think South Africa is the most mentally colonized black people on earth. This is my opinion, and I will stand by you. Nobody can make me change. They're still
Okay.
having they're still having a problem about this colonization. I'm not here to say if you have illegal immigrant in your country or people, committing crime, you shouldn't rule them out. Yes, you should rule them out, but you have to go through the immigration system,
Mhm.
not going on the street, beating up people or whatever. As of today, I heard what the Minister of South Africa said, said there's no xenophobia, Actually, I don't call it xenophobia. Let me retrieve that. I call it Afrophobia.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on. So people stop calling it xenophobia. That's not like xenophobia because the white people, the Caucasian, I don't mean the legal ones already. I'm people who migrated here. They're about 1% of the South African population. South Africa, to my own recollection, is like about 64 to 65 million.
Mm.
The migrate like about 4%. Then you have the
Mhm.
white. Have you seen any one of them, attacking the white and ask them to go away? So it's not xenophobia, it's Afrophobia. That's what we have, the South Africa are perpetuating against other. So my issue I have is that let them go through their immigration, the ANC, is so corrupt like every other African country. I mean, Nigeria
Mhm.
is not an exception. So they're as bad as Nigeria, so they're collaborating, you know, with the 7%, of the Caucasian ruling the country. They are, they have 80% of the economy, the white people have. That's where they should vent their anger on, not the regular migrants. I think Nigeria has about 3,000, about 30,000 over there. I don't know, that may be exaggerated. 30,000, that seems like a lot, for me. They say that about 30,000 Nigerians in South Africa. In Nigeria, there's not a lot of South Africa in Nigeria, but maybe for business, MTM and some, maybe some of them are there for, they're associated with kind of business we have in Nigeria. So,
Mhm.
but what they're doing right now is not good. It's making Africa look bad. Okay, I mean, look at what's
Mhm.
happening in America. What are you telling Trump? when you are not even organized and you call you a shithole country and you are perpetuating the same thing and you expect person like United States or the United Kingdom, Kemi Badnam, you know what he said about Nigeria. This is exactly what is playing out right now. That Africa as a whole, we are like something is wrong. I don't know what is wrong. I'm an African, okay, so I'm not going to move myself forward. Something is really lacking in Africa. I don't know what it is. We have a problem that we need to come and and talk. The so-called ECOWAS. I think Ghana has filed a complaint to the ECOWAS. What is Nigeria doing? All those nonsense Oshemolo did over. I call it as a bluster. It doesn't mean anything. You say this, you guys seize their company. After all, it's not the Nigerian people that work in those corporations. Don't they have shareholders from Nigeria? So I find that narrative, they are talking at the National Assembly of Nigeria as a bluster. Nigeria is
They
not
have
doing
a lot
anything.
of drama in that National Assembly.
Yeah, they all they do is bluster. They just I call it a bluster. Nothing. Ghana is the one that has taken a concrete. Because I made this comment earlier about 2 weeks ago when it first started in one platform. I said the OAU should come in and see what's going on. And exactly that's what Ghana did last week. And they're taking a very forceful action. Ghana is not even as much as Nigeria, but look at what their government. That's what you call a competent, government. But
Mhm.
Nigeria is on a different level. Okay, all they're after is the next election. What's the next election? This is why we're having a problem. So let me concentrate on South Africa. South Africa need to look themselves in the mirror, and concentrate and go to the government, because their government has a lot of corruption, like Nigeria. That's where the problem is, because it's not migrant that is causing the problem. If you look at, okay, migrant commit crime in the country. Do you know that South Africa has the highest, violent corruption, I mean not corruption, violent crime in the world, number one. And 1 out of 5 South Africa has AIDS. They need to contribute to solve those problems because the migrants are not their problem. If you could, because there's in South Africa, I think in the South African region, they have what they call SADC. It's an organization for the South African region, Mozambique and everything. They're supposed to be coming there. Then East Africa have their EAC. Of course, we have ECOWAS, which is pretty much dead right now. So nothing is really functioning right. So they need to try to try to resolve their problem within themselves, not the
All right.
migrant that is less than 4%. And most of them there, I'm not saying there's no people peddling drug or doing something. Yeah, report them. Let the police. That's why you have security and police. Let them arrest them. If you have illegal migrant, send them away. Don't put
All
it
right.
on foreigners. Like I think I heard that about 16 Ethiopia has died and 2 Nigerians. That is well documented. 2 Nigeria has died, on recent attack. And this is not the first time, they are perpetuating this Afrophobia, like I call it. So something has to be given. I don't know what it is. Maybe
All right.
Africa, need to rise, maybe I don't know. I'm just kind of concerned about where Africa is going. It's not a
All
good
right.
image.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much,
All right.
comparable facts. Thank you so much. It's
All
just
right.
sad that last week when we had this conversation, you were not here. It would have been really just been the perfect timing because we had a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
it's okay.
African.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
But I'm sure
yeah,
we
I'm
will get
willing.
the message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I'm
I
sure
said, I
we will
don't
get
I
the
don't want to
message.
talk about Nigeria anymore. I don't want to
Yeah.
regurgitate about Nigeria issue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, comparable facts. Thank you so much. All right, guys. We're going to move on now to Mr. A. And then there's also Oviman that wants to make a comment or two about the South African conversation we had last week. But before we go on to that, I want to speak to Taya or is it Taya? Taya or Latunji? Taya or Latunji. So I don't know, but it seems like you're so heavily focused on the Peter Obi conversation, which is fine. It's your opinion, anyways. But when I see people do that, the question I always ask them is Peter Obi the president of Nigeria currently? Is Peter Obi the person in charge of the Nigerian economy currently? Is Peter Obi currently the problem of Nigeria? I mean, those are questions I would ask, because I feel like the conversation we're having, as I said, we're looking at the situation of Nigeria, everything that's going wrong. And we're talking about it because it's like we are a stifled people. It's either people are afraid of talking or people are just unbothered. So we're choosing to talk about it. We're choosing to dissect the issues that are prevailing in our society, and also giving an x-ray of the current government. And the current government is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And everybody around him seems to not see anything wrong in what is happening in this country. So that is the conversation, right? So if you are in the comment section going on and on and on and on and on about Peter Obi and saying that Shore is better than Peter, I'm wondering, like, what are we doing here? So I'm going to ask you a question now. What do you think about the current situation of the country? Can we put Peter Obi aside? Because Peter Obi is not the one holding the reins of affairs of Nigeria currently. No. There's a man seated up there. He has a vice. And then there's the leader of the Senate. And then there's the leader of the House of Reps. And then we have all these people. Can we focus our energy on these people and talk about how we can move this country forward better, please? Okay? It's not a fight between Peter Obi and Shore. Let's not make it about them. Very unnecessary. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. A, you are welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, hello, Glory. How are you? How you doing?
Good, good, good. Good to have you back. You are especially welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was also one of the people that actually missed out on the conversation last week. But anyway, let me not digress, to that conversation. Let me talk about, this conversation of today. The topic, the frustrations of being Nigerian, adapting and adjusting. Well, I think, in all honesty, this is I'm talking from personal experience now. Now, my parents, may they so rest in perfect peace. They've had
Mhm.
this mentality of, adapting and adjusting, and using the famous word, "It will be better."
Go better.
It go better. Yeah, you know. And they've always kind of engraved that into we, the children. As at that time, I said, "Oh, don't worry, Lagos. Nigeria would be definitely be better one day. One
Mm.
day. When is that day going to be?
One day. This is how many years later?
This is how many years later, And yeah, and I'm still looking for that one day. And in all honesty, I don't think that one day is going to come if the power is not being, if the people don't take the power into their own hands and actually use it. This government should be in a situation where, like, some South Africa, some African countries, where they should be fearing us, saying, "Oh, if we don't do well, these people can take us out regardless." Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's that fear of, "Oh my gosh, if we don't do anything, you know, we might actually be, might not be voted in, in the next election."
Mhm,
And
mhm,
it's like it seems like it's the reverse in Nigeria at the moment, whereby we are begging, the government to do something and say, "Please do it for us." We are begging, even the
mhm,
little basic thing like electricity, water, um, we seem to be begging everything. And you see, there's one thing about Nigerians, as you keep on saying, we always like to adjust. There's no power. What happens? Rather than fight the government, we like, oh, straight away, we have a solution, our own local solution by generator. Oh,
mhm,
fuel is now difficult. It's now getting expensive. Oh, to run our generator is now getting very expensive. What's the next solution? Instead of us to fight the government, no, we're not fighting the government. We're actually looking for alternative solutions in our own way. Solar power.
mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, when is it going to stop? When exactly is it actually going to stop? It's going to be, listen, I don't know what else to say. I mean, in a system where um, I've looked at it, I've come back to Nigeria. I had a business. The business had to fold up because of the current policies which have been put in place. You know, You can't even at the time, when initially the business was thriving, but as at the time, when this present government came in, when the dollars and the foreign currency was actually fluctuating quite really rapidly, it was a situation whereby you couldn't even decide on what the price of something was going to be, or if you're buying like, fuel for generator, how much is it going to be today? How much is it going to be tomorrow? Things were just, fluctuating and stuff like that. So it was a situation that how much are you actually making as a business?
Mm-hmm.
You're paying staff, you're buying products, the product is actually increasing, you're changing the menu on a weekly basis just to meet, whatever, just to even break even, not even actually to make a profit, just to actually break even. And
And you
eventually,
must pay your staff whether you have sales or
yeah,
not.
yeah, you have to pay your staff whether he has sales or not. So I mean, I wasn't one of those people that was actually going to leave my staff in limbo because I
Of
wasn't actually
course.
making any making any money at all.
Thank
But
you for that.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's so frustrating, and I keep on asking myself this question: if any one of these people who are currently supporting the present government, the question I just need to ask them is: if you are running a company and the CEO or the managing director was not actually bringing any money into that company, yeah, what would you do? Would you actually get rid of the CEO or the managing director, you know, and get somebody else in and see what actually happens, Or would you just like blindly just close your eyes and just say, oh, yeah, let him just keep on running? We've given him 4 years. 4 years, we haven't actually seen anything. Now they're actually telling us, oh, we need another 4 more years. 4 more years to actually do what exactly? Because we're actually in a situation where we're not even seeing anything at all. Okay, normally, in a government, the 4 years is supposed to actually, show us, the people, that this is what we've actually done. Yeah. For you
Mm-hmm.
to actually now vote us back in for another 4 more years because we're not happy with the situation. When you actually took ownership of this role, you categorically stated, yeah, you wanted this role, you wanted it.
Mm.
Whatever problems actually, was actually deep into Nigeria, you took ownership of it. Nobody
Mm.
forced you to. Yeah. If you don't want to actually if you don't want to continue, resign. It's as simple as, or don't even go
Yeah.
for a next term. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like the arrogance of, I'm actually going to do whatever else, I'm actually going to do, and nobody can actually take that away from me. And that's why I'm actually begging some Nigerians that, listen, this election is pretty, very much important, not just for people like me, but, the younger generation. The future is actually in your hands. Yeah. The future is actually in your hands because at the end of the day, you want to see something actually work. If at all, you know, right for the right vote for the right person. A change is actually definitely needed. Because the thing is, if you don't make changes, you never actually know whether the next person is actually good or bad. And if the next person is actually bad, we make another change. We keep on voting them out. The power is actually, should be, the people who actually have the power and not the politicians. Because at the end of the day, we actually, once we actually have that power, they'll be afraid of us. You can't keep on, going in the whole, oh, we'll pray for, we'll pray for electricity, we'll pray for water, we'll pray for, for the country to be better. How long are you, what's even the prayers actually doing? People don't actually understand that. Seriously, this is what these politicians has actually used. They've used this who called pastors or imams or whatever. They've used them as some sort of, you know, they put so that they can whitewash you, they can brainwash you, into thinking that, oh, this country is really doing well. But as a matter of fact, It's these pastors and these imams that are actually benefiting from the system because they're being paid by the government.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll keep telling you that, oh, you should keep on waiting, you keep on waiting. As I said, my dad actually told me this thing when I was like, in my 20s. Yeah. He
Mm-hmm.
told me this, that it go better, Nigeria will better. I'm still waiting for it to be better. How long is it going to take? How long is it actually going to take? Because I'm tired. I'm actually tired of waiting. I mean, for me, from someone like me who've actually, brought a business into Nigeria, because in a way, wasn't even thinking of even making money. I was just thinking of, okay, you know what? Let me just establish something, in Nigeria, and then also, create jobs for people out there. But then you had frustration upon frustration upon frustration. Is this the sort of frustration that the investors that are bringing in is actually going through? I don't actually get it. I don't get it at all.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. A. Obviously, you are not in the country. How many years did you run that business as a Nigerian living in diaspora? How many years did you run that business? How many years did you even break even? And how when did you shut down? Like when did you finally give up and then shut down?
I, I think I actually ran the business for almost 5 years, or so just probably about between 5 and 6 years, you know. And I started, I think probably 2 years before the present government. And then this present government, I think I finally shut down the business, was it last year. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't even break even. I actually made a loss, and I sold almost everything because
Wow.
it was far, it was cheaper, you know, for me to actually sell off everything than
Hmm.
for me to actually, keep on, yeah, being in the business. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're still going to pay staff,
Hmm.
you're still going to pay for fuel, you're still going to pay for, all the products you're actually selling, you know. And the thing is, not to even talk of the corruption which is even actually happening in the first place, corruption which was actually being taking place. So listen, at the end of the day, yeah, people are going to. I think people are actually frustrated, and you see the story you actually mentioned, quite earlier on, that you said you were at the market and you saw two people, they were actually they were just saying, oh, they wish, they who puts the government in there and stuff like that. Oh, they,
Yeah. That they didn't vote.
oh, that they didn't vote. Yeah, I mean, if you had people like those, think think about it. There's probably about 1 million of people like those people who didn't actually vote, or probably even more. Yeah, that if you actually, made a firm decision and say, okay, you know what, we are actually going to do something about the current situation of the country. Yeah,
Hmm.
then that is 1 million votes, which will probably potentially go to a presidential candidate, or probably spread around a certain, But if you look at it, those sort of people who decide not to vote and keep quiet, now when they're in the hardship situations and they are complaining with the rest of everybody, in a way they have no right to actually complain. They have no right to actually complain because at the end of the day, if you're looking at the situation on ground, I'm sorry to say, there's some people, yeah, as I said, I'm currently, abroad, and there's some people who are abroad, and they're really bigging up these, current government from afar. They're like really supporting them. And in all honesty, I just feel it's so disgusting of these people who actually come on so many, platforms to actually say, oh, the country is doing well, you know, Tinubu is, is trying to sort out all the corruption which is actually happening in the past. And then, he's trying to, build a bit. Sorry, I think you're one of the very sick people, because you're benefiting from whatever is actually going on in the country, in that situation. You're probably getting some sort of handouts from people to actually, speak in favor of the current government, which has done a very appalling job at the moment. There's no indices that you look at that you would say that this current government is actually even doing something at all. Nothing. All the
Mr. A,
indices are actually down.
Mr. A, sorry, I'm looking at this comment. I would like for you to also speak to this comment. So this person in your mind is saying Nigeria is on a path of real economic growth. And I'm throwing this to you as someone who had to shut down a business in after 2 years of opening, less than 3 years of this government taking over. Yeah. So this person said Nigeria is on a path of real economic growth. Nigeria's economic development was instituted on a faulty pedestal. Tinubu is currently rebooting the system on a strong pad that will be self-sufficient. Please, before you answer that question, I just want to ask, as an ordinary Nigerian that is not receiving any handouts from this government, how 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 is real? Let me put it that. How is real economic growth sure for a country that cannot even boast of stable power supply? Not just that one. How?
Listen, as I keep on telling you, you've got all these supporters who comes on all these, platform like yours to actually, keep on chanting praises for the current government. Yeah, I mean, this person who's actually written that, he probably doesn't even, live in Nigeria to actually, actually understand what's actually going on in the country. Or even though he or she actually lives in Nigeria, they're probably the 1% of the 1% who are actually benefiting from the current government. So they are not facing any realities. They can't see the realities which is actually happening on ground, you know. So in all honesty, some of these people actually come with their so-called grammatical jargons to actually, brainwash some people to actually say, yeah, the government is actually, really trying as much as possible to do something. They're really stabilizing the economy. And you're just looking at these people and you're just saying, there's some people who sells their souls to the devil. Sorry to say, there's some people who actually sells their souls to the devil. If we actually saw anything of any substance which is actually happening currently, yeah, in Nigeria, I for one would actually be saying it. For one would actually say, you know what, this government is actually trying, but there's nothing. There's currently absolutely
Honestly,
nothing.
I mean, make it make sense. Your mind is claiming that Nigeria is on the path of real economic growth. Okay, fine. But the optics clearly screams that this current government does not even give two thoughts about whatever is going on in the country. It's like the current government is actually deaf and, okay, let's call it tone deaf to the realities on ground. We'll use the health sector as an example also. The health sector currently in shambles. Doctors are not getting paid properly. A lot of doctors, they've jackpot, like they've relocated to other countries to find greener pastures. But the current government, they have invested millions upon billions in preparing for the coming election. In fact, the moment they took over office, they took over power from 2023, they've been preparing for 2027 election from then. Is that a government that is even focused on real economic growth? Please, John Mites, can you give us more clarity and possibly give us examples on this real economic growth that you are talking about? Because I'm not blind, but I can't see shit. So can
Glory.
you come and explain? Because I'm not seeing shit.
Glory. Most of the people, seriously, there's no even point actually inviting most of these people, because
Like,
most of these
it's
people, when they when they
off.
when they come, you see, when they come on a platform like yours, they actually come with a script. So they start telling you that, oh, Tinubu actually did net funds, he did loans for students, you
Is it
know,
for free?
for coastal roads. There's a nice, beautiful coastal road which is, he's actually implemented. unification of the foreign currency. He removes subsidy. These are the things they will actually come and tell you. It's like they've given them a script. They've given them a script where they actually come and actually narrates the whole good things that this government has actually done. But seriously, come on, I mean, people are actually feeling it. People are
Mm-hmm.
feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
People are, people. This is no jokes. People are 10 times poorer than when Buhari was actually in government. That is how
Yeah.
bad it is.
And Buhari said it. Buhari said it that when he leaves, Nigerians will wish he was the one that was still in
Yeah,
power. Now we're
absolutely.
facing it. It's like 10 times harder than when Barry was in power. When Barry was in power, things were not even that great. But now it's like we're missing how things were when Barry was in power. Because if you think about it, where is the logic? Anybody that come and tell me that, oh, the president is working, the president is doing whatever, excuse you, how is the president working when it's like it's is working based on misplaced priorities. It's all about election, holding power. And then the cost of governance, the way the president moves with his convoy, with his cohorts, with his cronies. These people, they say Nigerians should buckle up, but they are not buckling up at all. They are not. It's like they are living on a different planet, and Nigerians are still in Nigeria and just burning in hell. So where's the economic growth? Where is the potential? Because it doesn't even look like there's potential. It doesn't even look like
Well,
that.
well, Glory. What you've got to actually understand is, the sort of this what's his name again? Is it Yomite? People like him, they're the new influencers who actually gets their income from gigs, whether it's, they pay them, 20K or, 50K, and for them, they're happy because they're probably making, probably 200K in a month, so they're happy. So they're not thinking about the masses because as far as they're concerned, they're doing a job for the government. They're happy doing that job for the government. So it's like the pastors and the imams. This is what you've now got in the social media now. Come gaslight people to actually thinking that, the country is actually working and sell them a very soft story that the country is going to get better. The country will get better in the next 4 more years. After that, another government would actually come in. I would never ever forget what Buhari actually said after his 8 years. Buhari actually said in his final interview, he said, "Well, I've tried my best." That's all he said.
Human didn't do shit. I just
I've
said he was
tried my. He said that's what he said. He said, "I've tried my best, and I'm handing over now to somebody else." That is what he said.
Yeah.
But
Because what's gonna happen?
that's
Are people going to hold him?
thank you. There you go. It's like, okay, I've tried my best. I'm gonna give the baton to somebody else. But you see, this one in power, he doesn't want anybody else to actually
Mm-hmm.
hold that baton. He wants to keep on holding that baton.
Mm-hmm.
You're a human being, for goodness me. Doesn't matter how long, after eventually in this life, people do go, you know. So that's why I said the power has to come back to we the people. We need to
Yeah.
vote these people out. They need to be afraid of the people. It can no longer be a case of, oh, he's my brother, he's from my tribe, or he's from
Mm-hmm.
this, he's from that, so he has to be in power, because he's my tribesman or my tribeswoman. Seriously, come on. At the end of the day, competent people, that's what we're asking for. We need someone who can grow the economy and not someone there to do, it's my thing. I come sell market. So how much I will give you. That's the kind of thing that's actually happening with this, new set of politicians, which is actually happening. There's no sort of, forward thinking, no tech thinking, especially with all the new tech, which is actually, happening in this whole, era in the world. There's nothing tech. And so the most sad thing about this is Nigeria has the potential, especially the youth, of, you see that technology sector, you know, Nigerian technocrats, they are one of the best in the world. All they just need is just a foundation, an opportunity for them to actually even boom the you know the current economy. But that opportunity is not there. It is not there at all. There's no infrastructure to actually give them that lift. Nigerians are one of the smartest people out there that will just go into any place and actually start, whether it's apps and stuff like that, they're at it. But this current government, all they care about is how much money am I going to share to the next person? That's all they care about. How much money am I sharing? Not about the future of the people. So one final thing I'm actually going to say is whoever the youths are on your platform, and whoever else hasn't actually gotten, the PVCs or voter cards, please, this is the time for them to actually go get their PVCs or the voter cards and act
Yeah.
in the next coming election. Thank you very much, Gloria.
Thank you so much, Mr. A. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry. I don't even know what to say that would make it sound right. But I'm so sorry that you had to shut down your business. Nobody ever wants to put in so much in investment for a business and then shut it down without even getting back your capital. It's crazy. I'm so sorry. And I really do hope that you recoup your losses. Okay.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. We're gonna listen lastly to Oviman. Oviman just wanted to speak briefly for just briefly about the South Africa situation. Mr. Ovi, you're welcome.
Thank you, Glory. Thank you so much. I'm also about to resume something. Um, you see, like the one of the things that I usually say about people, or one of the reasons why I feel like we shouldn't be distracted when we are talking about coming out to vote in mass and actually protest peacefully, obviously, is because when we start the other options, when people talk about even revolution, you see that revolution is not something they know very well, that revolution is not something that will happen now. So it is a perfect excuse to derail people from voting for the right candidate.
Mm.
So that is the game. And those that can't see it, okay, maybe one day they will see it. But you see, uh, I'm not accusing anybody. Even with that, I'm not accusing Showore of maybe working for the opposition. I mean, the ruling party or whatever. I'm just saying that is how it happens most of the time.
Yeah,
So yeah, we will know.
I see
But
what you mean, honestly. I just don't want to even comment on it. It looks
yeah,
like that. It's always
yeah,
like a distraction, a huge
yes.
distraction.
Thank you. For South Africa, I just personally I don't live in South Africa, but I have people, to be honest, that are in South Africa. And one thing I'll say is that there's economic hardship, there is unemployment um, all over the world. There's economic hardship and all that, and people sometimes get angry and they're frustrated. But the issue is, when you're angry and frustrated, and some people that are not careful or that are not informed enough to be able to channel it to the right direction, they will look for the person that their hand can reach. It's just like some people say they're angry. Instead of going after maybe corrupt politicians, you can see some of them, they will go and start looting people's shops, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So that is you're channeling your anger to the wrong direction. And for me, the way I see some of the things that has been going on, I actually know somebody that was beaten up. Someone I know personally, that
Mm.
they took him to the hospital after he has been beaten up by some group of people that said they were protesting. They don't actually, without doing, it's not like he was he has a shop. They came to the shop.
Mm.
Tell you know the way you see it on those clips online.
Yeah.
He came to his shop, tell him to come out from the shop, and they beat him up. And before he could even say, he could not even explain himself. They didn't want to hear anything. So my point is that if the whole thing is about, if it's the whole thing is about illegal foreigners, and
Yeah.
I saw from one of their program on SABC, they were talking about it's not just about that these people that are all undocumented are illegal. That some of them are undocumented, but it doesn't mean that they have committed crimes. It's just that sometimes it can even be the efficiency of the government parastatals that are supposed to carry those things out. Maybe the system is overwhelmed, or maybe they are on a long queue, or something like that. So, but the people marching on the street, I don't think they are taking all those things into consideration. And
Mm.
some people, I've seen some of their conversations online, even when they're having their discussions. The thing is that you're taking cue from maybe the America and maybe Poland, some of all these countries. You forget that. Have you ever seen a white? Have you ever seen the protesters, for example, the people talking about that they have to close their borders in America? Have you ever seen them telling them shutting their borders to people coming from Europe or other white dominated countries? Or why they don't? So it should show you that if you're copying, copy rightly, or if you're being
Exactly.
yeah, if you're being inspired, be inspired rightly, because
Mm-hmm.
the only people that they don't want in their spaces, all those countries that you're taking cue from, are people that don't look like them.
Mm.
Meanwhile, here, uh, meanwhile here in Africa, some people are, the people that look like you are the ones you don't want to see.
Exactly.
And when you go to Asia, or you go to Europe, or you go to the United States, most of the people, have you ever seen black people in America come out and they're protesting for African migrants to live? They've not. No matter how much the African migrants are succeeding in America, like Nigerians are even considered one of the most successful immigrants grouping in the United States, even in the UK, everywhere. It's just like someone said, the same thing that make them succeed outside is also somehow being weaponized against them in Nigeria, because now be like, oh,
Exactly.
just go and think outside the box, look for
Mm.
solution, no lights, look for generator.
Look for
If you
something
cannot,
different.
yes, if you cannot get generator, look for solar power and
Mm.
just keep moving, go and
Mm.
pray. You see, so, but sometimes that is the same thing that is also helping them to succeed when they are outside Nigeria. But the thing is
Mm-hmm.
that the South Africans, as they are marching, China brought out 800 million of their people out of poverty. And as
Mm-hmm.
in 2020, they declared that they are no longer, there's nobody in China that is under the poverty line. Like is it called the extra dimensional poverty? There's that word they usually use. There's no one that,
Multi-dimensional.
yes, there's no one under that anymore. So you still have poor people, but they can survive, and they're still living with some level of dignity. So, and how did they do that? One of the first thing they did was open door policy, foreign investment. That's when you find all these companies going to China, opening their factories in China and all that. They made it very easy for people to come and invest in China.
Mm.
That's one of the main things that they did. And they made sure that those companies are starting up in communities that are more affected with
Mm.
with poverty rates. So it was a targeted way of investment. And the thing is that if you're talking about crime, that's another excuse that some of them use to go after this. They say crime, that the foreigners
Mm.
are committing crime. The foreigners are not committing the most crimes, but there are sometimes you find a group that does a particular crime more. For
Mm.
example, it doesn't mean that everybody in that group is doing it, but it can mean that, okay, some people in that group significantly are doing it. For example, in the United States, we have the case of the Somalians in Minnesota, and when they were finding out of those welfare scams, you see that some of them came from there. from the Somali group in Minnesota. But it doesn't mean that now, because of they are the ones committing, some of their people are the ones committing the welfare scams in Minnesota, then they are now counting it as they are the ones committing most crimes in in the United States. That's not how it's calculated. So, and that's some of the things that they need to look into, because even if, okay, if you're talking about crime, why are you attacking somebody that has a shop? Is that a criminal? Is that
Mm-hmm.
that's someone that has invested? And now you might say, is it, you don't, a foreigner or an investor, an immigrant doesn't have to be like some $1 million company or a multinational. Somebody that comes and opens a shop that maybe gets 2, 3 people working for him, local people, that has created employment, or is paying his taxes, and that is also boosting your economy. He
Mm-hmm.
has a job, and and even if before he gets somebody working for him, he's also patronizing the local market. He's buying things to put in his shop from the local economy. So all those type of people, I would understand if some of the protesters, to be honest, that's why I'm not looking at them and condemning them
Mm-hmm.
totally. Sorry, I'm not looking at them and
Sorry.
condemning them totally, but I also want them to be, to channel their protest, or their, their whatever they want to do. They should channel it to the right,
Exactly.
the right direction. Because I also understand the thing. In fact, I understand if they go to a company or a factory that is hiring only foreign or immigrants. I'll
Mm.
understand that. Why are you doing that in our country? You shouldn't do that. If you discover any country, any company or any organization that is hiring only immigrants, there's something wrong. In fact, you have every right to protest, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to attack. Life is precious. People are actually losing their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and you start asking yourself, for what? So, but if you go and look for somebody that is in a shop, and you're telling him, come from this shop, go to your country, how does that benefit you, or how does that improve your economy? You're actually killing business in your area. You're killing business. That person goes, you think you don't have an immediate replacement that will run it the same way,
Mm-hmm.
because business is also somebody's life's work and their passion. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have somebody that can do it exactly like that. So you'll be like, that person has gone, but no problem. As if you find out that after a period of time, the whole business in that area goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find criminals anywhere, me, I will never speak for criminals. In fact, if you ask me, even those immigrant communities or foreigners or whatever, they should have a system to look for who is a criminal among them,
Mm-hmm.
because you see that it can easily be used against the entire group. So when you find out that you people have like a group or an association or something, and you see that some people, you can't tell what they are doing, or they are doing some things that are dubious, and it's going to bring, attack on your people, you should be able to, even before anybody even address it, you should be able to come together as a group and stop that person. If you need that person deported, let that person be deported. I feel like that's how some of these immigrant groups should operate, because they are going to come after you guys, not because of that crime alone, or not primarily because of that crime, but they will come after you guys because now they've seen an excuse to
And they
use,
generalize it. Yeah.
and they'll generalize it, because there's already that thing of, you're in my country. It doesn't matter even if you're not doing anything wrong, but you know how to succeed, and I'm suffering or I'm struggling in this way. It's
Mm.
very hard for you to see South Africans that are doing well on the streets protesting that all the immigrants must go. I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you. It's very hard for you to see the ones that are probably maybe a mechanical. I know of South African as they were doing all those things. I know the lady. She was in a conference in China. So I'm like, okay, this kind of person. Imagine, where does she have the time to come out and do this thing? So what you're supposed to do, if you ask me, you don't have to be like a graduate or something, but you can look
Mm.
for a skill that can help you. Then you go and look for, a job, because if you don't have any skill, or if you don't have the ability to do some things, nobody will take you. You understand? So
Mhm.
that's why I am saying that even the company itself, if there's any company which I've not seen, do you know, since you started watching these people online, have you seen them bring out one company and said, this is a huge factory that only hires immigrants? I've not seen it.
Mm.
I'm not saying they are not there. Maybe they are there, but me personally, I've not seen it. So they should
Mm.
be able to have the realistic conversation, the honest conversations, and
Yeah.
separate the genuine concerns from just frustration that is being channeled to people of other countries that are, you feel like that they are succeeding, and while you're struggling, because that's not a legitimate reason to go after people. If it's a level playing field, if it's a level playing field, then if people, because you cannot, there's no way you will be discriminated against in your own land. There's no way. I'm not.
Mm.
I'm among Africans. It's not possible. Do you want to tell me that it's easier for a South African to go? It's easier for an African immigrant to go and open a business than a South African. How is that possible? He has to first worry about permits. He has to worry
Mhm.
about business permits, resident permits, all of
So
those
many
permits. And
documentations.
for you, you don't even have any of those things to worry about. You just need to go straight and say, I'm opening it. So
Mm-hmm.
if they are matching and saying that they want all the migrants that are accused of committing crimes to go out of their country, even all of us will be here supporting them. That yes, in fact, those people, don't bring them back to our country, take them to one island and leave them there. But you're going into the businesses of people.
Mm.
Business. I'm looking at someone selling that has a shop that is paying rent. The landlord is most likely a South African. He has workers, 2 3 workers that are South Africans, and all of that. So that's just how I see some of the things. I don't
Okay.
I see it from all sides, but I
Yeah.
feel like mostly what we have, it has become a self-hate thing.
Yeah.
So now it's covering the legitimate angle that we are supposed to also, because we're also supposed to
True.
consider that some of these people are going through economic hardships. The immigrants are suffering more. If you think you're suffering, it's very hard for somebody to go and try to survive in another person's country. It's very
Oh,
hard. Yeah. So
yeah.
that's just how I see some of the things,
Thank
and I
you.
wish that they will stop. The thing of violently expressing that, because I've seen clips. We have seen so many clips. I've told you the one that happened to someone I know personally
Yeah.
that they took to the
Mm.
hospital. Another person I know was the one that took the person to the hospital
Mm.
after he was almost beaten to death. So you
Mm.
ask yourself, and that is somebody that has a shop. And I asked him, he has a worker. He has like 2 workers that are South Africans. And
This thing you're saying, I was saying it during last week's live conversation. I
mm,
was speaking to everyone, specifically also the South Africans there,
mm,
that you cannot gaslight the whole world.
yeah,
Because a lot of them were saying nobody was harassed, nobody was attacked, that those were old videos. And I'm
no,
saying,
that's
no,
a lie. That's a
I said, no,
lie.
that's a lie. You cannot gaslight the whole world because that is what a lot of South Africans are doing.
Yeah.
They go to TikTok, they go
Mm,
to videos of people who are addressing this issue, just like we have been doing here. They go to
yeah.
the comment section and they're like, that's a propaganda, that's a lie. So it's like a lot of those people are like paid actors
Mm,
that have been
exactly.
sent to go on social media to dispel the reality,
The
so
reality.
it
Yeah.
looks like nothing is wrong. And some of the speakers that day, they were also saying the same thing, that no, nobody was harassed. I said, no, you can't call a live video a
Thank
lie.
you.
Because the
Exactly.
videos I have seen, I have actually stumbled. The thing about TikTok is you can
Mm,
just stumble on a live stream. So I
mm-hmm,
personally have stumbled on live streams where people are actually being attacked, not
mm-hmm.
harassed. I mean, attacked. People are getting beaten. And you are saying nobody was harassed. But at the end of the day, violence is not the way.
Yeah.
Violence is not even going to give you the solution you're looking for. Because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, you are just shedding blood for nothing.
And it's every
honestly.
it's every African immigrant, because I hear another propaganda is that, oh, they want to kind of find solidarity in the common uh, hatred for maybe the success of some Nigerians. So they'll say, oh
Mm,
no, it's just, I saw one saying that, are you Nigerian? The man said, I'm
mm,
Malawian. And still,
yeah.
they never allowed him live there. They said, no, you have to go back. After he has told them, he said, but I'm not Nigerian. He said, no, we know. So it's a cover. So when we say we are not attacking, you see, we're only Nigerians. But meanwhile, on ground, online, some people that are already having that thing, because Nigerians, any way you look at it, they will always try to succeed because of that mentality and that mindset that a lot of Nigerians have,
Yeah.
and which is part of the reason why some Nigerians are suffering home, because the mentality is that nobody can stop you from progressing. You go there and look for it anyhow. But
Mm,
sometimes you need to remove that mindset a little bit when you're dealing with your corrupt leaders.
yeah.
Outside Nigeria, it's a good mentality. But now in this case, that mentality can also make some people envious and very envious of you. So
Well,
there's no way
you
yeah,
can't
there's no
have
way.
success.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't have success. Anyways,
yeah.
thank you so
Thank you.
much, Mr. Ovi. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thanks for coming back to address
Mm,
the South Africans' attacks on Africans. I really appreciate you coming back to share. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Gloria, can I make a simple comment in just to round up my thought? Just a minute.
okay, just 1 minute because I need
Just one
to.
minute. Thank you very much. I think you have all these people coming on your platform, which is good anyway. I mean, I don't like going to a platform where everybody's saying kumbaya. Different narrative. But you have some of these people coming here. I don't really call it gaslighting anymore. Because gaslighting is more of a general term. Because what some of those Nigerians do, they try to change the narrative. I consider it to be narrative manipulation. That's what they do. Spread propaganda just to confuse ordinary people. That's what they do on that platform. But anyway, on my final submission, the point we have to ask Nigeria: Are we better off, that as of today than we were before 2023? The answer is definitely no. So the
No.
government shouldn't be voted in by any means necessary. Because I don't want to give you all the whole indices. All the whole indices say that we are worse off, from economic inflation to naira devaluation and everything. We are worse off than we were before 2023. So nobody with a good mind, with sense, you vote, for this present government to come in. But we see what going. But thank you for your platform, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, sir. Even a blind person can tell that the way the country is today is worse than how it was 3, 4 years ago. Even a blind person can easily tell that. But yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, this is where we're going to call it a day or an evening, however way you want to put it. This is where we're going to end today's conversation. I am really glad that we had this conversation today. Before we sign out, massive gratitude to first AB Okole. Last week during our live conversation, AB Okole gave some very beautiful donations to this channel. I did not see it until I signed out, and I felt really bad because I really wanted to give her that shout out, as one of our biggest and strongest contributors in on this platform. So AB, if you're still here, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all you do. God bless you abundantly. Thank you so much. You are simply amazing. Thank you so much. Also, I want to give gratitude to every single person that came on here today to vocalize their thoughts, contribute greatly to the conversation. I'm grateful to all of you for your time. Thank you so much. I do not take it for granted. Thank you very much. And then for those of you in the comment section, keeping the conversation alive, your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives, your analysis, beautiful. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for your contribution to today's conversation. I am grateful. Guys, if you want today's conversation to reach a wider audience, do me a favor, kindly share as much as you can. If you do not want to share the whole conversation, which is over 3 hours long, I think on YouTube you can actually share a portion of it. You can actually cut clips and share a portion of it. On YouTube, you can just mark the areas you want to share and share. Just share as much as possible. All right. Yeah, but overall, thank you all so much for your time. This new week, I'm going to be putting out videos still addressing things that are happening in the country, because guys, I feel like I'm sitting on a hot stone this period. I am restless, I am agitated, I'm not happy. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people who are, I think, more affected by what's happening in the country, a lot of them are not really speaking up enough about it. A lot of them do not even know what to do. They do not know how to express their pain. A lot of people do not even know how to voice out their frustrations. So, yeah, we're going to continue talking. Okay. And that is all for today's episode of Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah. Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a beautiful, beautiful weekend ahead. Bye.